Well, it is episode 135 of Hotline League, and I'm so glad you're here because it is a spicy meatball of an episode for you tonight. That's what we got. We've been cooking it in the kitchen. We sauteed it with a little bit of Weldon getting dismissed, and we sprinkled a little bit of TL is fourth, and we did some of the
TSM is fourth, you mean?
Oh, yes, TSM is fourth. Sorry, TL is fourth is so embedded in my brain that we're not restarting it. We're committing to this. People could see this is an authentic show. We include my mistakes. Anyway, how you going? How's it going, Mark?
It's going good. I'm trying to figure out how to set up that thing I was telling you about, so I'm going to be pretty distracted for most of this episode.
Great, yes. Mark wants the ability to have confetti fall on his screen the way it does on the LCS broadcast, and he's decided to embark on this venture.
Excited because it would mean I'd be using my 4K camera instead of this little garbo piece of thing.
Anyway, we've got Inero here from Golden Guardians. Inero, how's it going?
Pretty good, Travis. I'm a little tired, but
yeah,
I'm vibing.
We booked you last week when your team was on the up and up, and now your team is on the down and down. So it's a lesson to me to only book after everybody yells at me for booking so late on guests, but if you book before the LCS games are played, maybe it's a less exciting situation.
Are we really on the down and down after that weekend?
You went 0-2, down and down.
Fuck, it's doomed, I guess. Yeah, it's over, actually. Everything's burning down.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I mean, on Thursday, you play a team that you just lost to.
We do. The team that we had a 4K gold lead against. That's true.
You guys should actually just give up.
If only you had a Nexus lead against them, that would have also been helpful.
Yeah, we should just have, I don't know. I didn't think about it, but I think winning the game, Travis, that could have been good.
I think so,
That could have been a good move.
Either way, for those that don't know, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because he's been there for a bit, but Inero, coach of Golden Guardians, and we actually have a part of the reason why Inero is on is because Golden Guardians reached out. They are, Mark doesn't even know this because he knows nothing going into these shows, but they're releasing a docu-series. Instead of doing a weekly thing, they recorded all of it, and they're doing
Wait, didn't they have a trailer out last week or something?
Yes.
So how come I don't know about it?
What you don't know, maybe, Mark, can I finish what I was going to say?
Sure.
Okay. And so we have an exclusive clip from that series that will be played on this show in 30 minutes or so.
Oh boy.
And so Inero is here to talk a little bit about what they're doing.
Are we getting paid for that?
No. It's like whenever a celebrity goes on a talk show and they promote their movie. That's what Inero is. He's like Jessica Alba.
I'm Jessica Alba. Yeah, I'm a celebrity basically.
Yes, exactly.
All 9,000 of my followers.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't this supposed to be useful for us in some capacity?
We tried to get a player, and then they were like, the players are getting ready for playoffs, and then I was like, okay, can I get a coach? And they're like, we can get you the GM, and I was like, what? Inero last week literally said he would come on the show because this is true, because we tried to get him on last week, and they're like, oh no, he's busy. So then I went into Inero's Twitch chat while he was streaming and screamed at him for lying to me. And then he said he would come on. So then I went back to the Golden Guardians people and said, you lied to me and said I couldn't get their coach or your coach, but I just got him. This is what people... So there was a thread a while ago. Actually, if you Google me, because I did that recently, because I don't want to get into it. But one of the first things that comes up is a Reddit thread that says, why is Travis Gafford the only League of Legends interviewer? And it's just why is he still doing this? Why is nobody else? It's reasons like this, because I will just spread dismay and deceit to get...
How old is that thread?
I don't know, but at Google SEO,
really hurt him
pretty high up. It's not me. Google's attached to it.
I would have thought that the one that's saying that you can't interview would be number one.
Yes, exactly. That's a more recent one.
And a more accurate one.
Anyway, Mark, what you been up to lately?
Just working. Playoffs are around the corner, and being the attentive broadcaster that I am, I totally knew that it was 4 days a week and that I had to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. and I definitely wasn't planning to do things with Ashley.
Yes, I definitely didn't plan a retreat.
That's right.
For Tuesday through Friday, not realizing or realizing the whole time that there was a TSM Golden Guardians match on Thursday. Wouldn't it actually? Here's the thing. I have two paths here. I could blame myself for not being informed on the schedule, or I could blame Riot for not informing everyone enough on the schedule. I'm gonna pick door B.
Is that your job to know?
I don't doubt that Riot informed me. I doubt I paid attention.
Riot definitely. I feel like they didn't talk about it on the broadcast or anything. Also, I
guarantee you, Dash had a sign off that was like, "We'll see you back here Thursday at 1 p.m. for the beginning of the playoffs."
Yeah, probably on Sunday. But I didn't know.
You weren't watching the end of day.
No,
Sunday
I'm saying I should have known. I feel like they should have communicated that playoffs is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before the end of a little more than a week's notice would have been nice. We didn't even get a week's notice. By the way, Alienware sponsors this show. I'm supposed to say that at the start, and I always do, but then I got on a tangent, so I just want to shout them out. We're going to talk more about them later on as the episode continues. By the way, 1 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. And I'm doing something special, a TFT thing with a celebrity. I don't think I can talk about it yet, but that's going to be on Friday. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it yet, but I'm wondering if I can promote it. I'm going to message somebody right now and find out if I can promote it and say who it is. Actually, wait, hang on. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Here, B. Kelby, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing Hotline League right now, and I just dropped from the channel so that I could ask you in your Discord if I'm allowed to talk about the thing that I'm doing on Friday on Hotline League.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I can say it now what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was secret or we had to wait till they announce.
They haven't. Okay, they haven't announced it yet, but I don't think it's some big, crazy secret. You know what I mean?
Well, I have it on record that the person who's helping me.
Nobody's gonna come and yell at me and be like, "Oh no." I don't think any. Yeah, because you're promoting the show. What? I don't.
And it airs on Friday night.
Friday night.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the channel. So I'm playing TFT with T-Pain on Friday. So
that's cool, man.
People can check that out. That's a thing that I'm doing.
Nice, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, man.
That's hella dope.
I love that for you, man.
Thank you.
You been watching The Bachelor? Or some tragedy? What are you watching that put the phrase "I love that for you" in your brain? Because I feel like I've
just heard that a lot.
Yeah, people.
That's what I'm wondering. I've only started hearing that from trashy reality TV shows I've been watching.
Yeah, I don't watch trashy reality shows.
Then I don't know how you got it in your brain here. I love that for you.
I don't know, dude. People say it. It's just a phrase.
Certain people say it.
Anyway, so maybe we should talk about League of Legends esports competitive.
Nah.
Okay, let's keep talking then about other stuff. Yeah, so I'm playing with T-Pain. It's going to be pretty cool. I think more people can check out my social media where I will share more information about it to come. But, yeah. No, let's actually talk about League of Legends esports. So, big weekend. Hey. Mark, go ahead. Kick us off.
Playoffs are underway. We have finished the regular season. 8 teams have made it. The people missing out were Immortals and CLG. RIP. Gone, but not forgotten. Already making moves in the offseason for CLG. Getting rid of a lot of their coaching staff. The 2 teams in the lower bracket, because it's double elimination if you don't know. The 2 teams are 100 Thieves and Dignitas, who were able to go 2-1 in the last weekend to sneak in. Then you have in the upper bracket, but without a bye, are TSM, Golden Guardians, FlyQuest, and EG. And then TL and C9 are in the upper bracket with the buys. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And CLG today, breaking news just before the start of the show, CLG has dismissed both their after failing to make it into playoffs. Mark, what do you do? What was that?
I already said that.
Did you?
Yeah, you never listen to me.
Anyway, anything else that we're forgetting?
Let me check Reddit.
It always feels like there's like at least one thing that we're forgetting.
Yeah, there's always one big news thing that we missed.
Yeah. Twitch chat, what you got for us? Help us out.
Past week.
I know
Yon.
Sneaky.
You
People are
read
saying
Sneaky?
F. Oh, it's the F is that I forgot. Okay. Oh, the Challenger amateur thing. So, they have moved. So Riot has announced, the LCS specifically has announced, their commissioner, we're committed to growing and elevating esports in North America, so we'll be moving scholastic and amateur esports programs under the LCS to support the entire competitive pipeline. We're looking for a leader to help us make the NA the most competitive region in all esports. The role will oversee our development ecosystems, including college, high school, amateur, and academy. So previously, these things kind of like you had collegiate isolated off into its own little silo. You had other stuff into their own things. Now they're literally going to try to like link it all together so that theoretically, you know, if you are the person in charge of this, you know that your job is to grow talent and get them into the LCS through like this pipeline essentially of stuff. And Inero, I'm kind of curious about your opinion on this because you are big on like development, player development, that type of stuff. So what is your reaction to this?
I mean, you kind of have to wait to see stuff actually happen to see if it's going to be useful. I mean, anything like that for trying to help develop amateur is good. I guess if it's all under one umbrella, it's like easier to track and uphold and all that. But like, dude, it's so hard to know until stuff actually starts going with it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on probably the person that they hire and the resources, right? Because overall, like, I think this is a really good thing. The problem is it's great to say, hey, we're going to do this program, but then the big question is this even going to work? How are you going to approach it? Are they going to have enough resources? Will you, you know, if you have to make a decision around, I don't know, views versus development, or is that going to be something that you do? I don't know why you would, but to the point, I think the other problem is just like, how long is it going to take to get this going? Because they probably can't get 20, like you can't make changes. You have to hire the person. Then they're not going to be able to build out the programs for 2021 fast enough. You probably don't actually get the stuff until 2022, which means you don't really start to see the results of it until, I don't know, 2023 or 2024. So it's just so many years out. And it's good that they're doing this. It's just difficult because these things definitely take time, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't take like that long to see like payoffs from it. But yeah, that shit takes time. So
yeah. Mark, do you have any thoughts on this? Or are you busy trying to work with your tech issues?
No, I'm definitely not doing that. I'm focused, but I just didn't actually read the actual announcement.
Okay, well, there you go. So, why don't we talk a little bit about the Golden Guardians documentary that is happening? So, Nick and Inero, what have you been told to say on the show about it? Were you briefed?
What have I been told to say?
Were you given talking points in a bullet point form?
Like, I mean, I know about the docuseries, but I haven't been told to like, oh, say these exact things in this buzzword. It's just like, you know, there's like a 3-part docuseries thing that they're doing about our whole split, basically.
Okay. So again, if you're the celebrity on the late night talk show, what are you excited about with this docuseries?
What am I excited about? I don't know. It's just kind of cool to be in one. It's not like I guess similar to the ones where they're doing like the weekly shows where teams are kind of trying to like hide everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, like this team had like this kind of like blow up thing that happened, and oh, this happened this week. We don't want to release like a documentary thing and like show it because like, oh, the players will see it and they'll get like really frustrated and tilted and stuff like that, you know? And it'll just make it worse. It's like we're already kind of through anything like that happened with that, and it's like in the past for us, so everyone's like pretty open to talk about it, about it, so you can kind of like see that type of thing, you know?
That's what you think, and then you find out that FBI shit talked Huhi and Lane from like some struggles they had in week 5, and they never really hashed it out, and that surface, you know, that wound reopens.
Yeah, right before playoffs, it just breaks us down completely.
Let me ask you this though, Inero, because you kind of are positioning this as like, hey, because we haven't done it weekly, it can be more real and authentic. You know, the obvious corollary to this is Breaking Point. A lot of people talked about that. Obviously, that team probably had a bit more drama on it, but I remember I did a show called Esports and Chill with Hunter, who now runs Golden Guardians, who was very critical of the decision to release Breaking Point. So I'm kind of curious, like, how real and authentic will this be, given maybe there's some hesitancy around going, you know, all the way out there?
So it's not going to be anything like that, man. It's not going to be like a hit piece on people they're trying to fire or something, you know?
Do you think that's what Breaking Point was? I don't think they were like, we're trying to fire people, so let's burn their reputations.
Nah, like, of course it wasn't like that, but come on, man. Like, I was a little sus. That whole documentary, like, or at least like that one. It's like, it's a little weird, you know? Seemed a little bit excessive on points. Probably things like you shouldn't show.
They were feeding lines to people, you know? It was all scripted. In no way was that just people unfiltered. And a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know. But come on, you can't show like some unfiltered things, you know? Like it's
so there's some filtered in this.
I mean, it's like a 30-minute series, man. Like, yeah, it's all technically filtered. It's 9 weeks filtered down to 30 minutes, Travis.
So is this like, okay, Kobe and I, well, it's 9 weeks filtered down to an hour and a half, right?
What?
Kobe and I have a water filter in our fridge that it's got a red light on it, Travis, which means it needs to be replaced. Is that what this is?
Of all time.
Where it's kind of filtered, but not entirely
filtered? It's a broken water filter, Travis. So like a little bit's getting through, but you know, it's not.
It's got a funky taste.
Yeah.
Shall we watch the clip?
Yeah, show the clip, Travis.
You got Mark and oh wait, Inero, set the clip up for us.
What, set the clip up for you? What do you mean?
Yes, a celebrity, when you say like, okay, so what's happening in this clip?
I haven't seen the clip, Travis.
Oh my
I've seen the
show. They did not prepare you for this
I've seen the show, but not the clip. Travis, I'm as excited as you are. I haven't seen the clip. Let's just put it on the screen.
Okay.
I'm so pumped, Travis.
Mark, you won't be able to hear this, so watch on stream.
I will.
Okay, here we go.
I think Cloud9 is really good right now, but I think outside of Cloud9, we can pretty much beat everyone. I think everyone can beat everyone. Only team I would be worried of would be Cloud9.
Welcome back to the LCS for Game 2, where we've got Golden Guardians who've seen improvements in Summer Split as they currently sit at 7-7 up against Cloud9 today.
Like do you guys actually think? There's a League of Legends fan out there think Golden Guardians is gonna win today? No! Just fucking go there, play! It's fucking easy. It's fucking easy when you're underdog.
Alright, today, I mean, we're playing C9, no pressure on us at all. Like, if we win, it's fucking insane. If we lose, it's so bad, you know? Like,
only we care.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, let's go. Just bring it in.
You ready, Tanner?
I'm ready, bro.
Damonte, he recalled and teleported back in behind Niski and Cloud9. What a big brain move from Damonte.
Good fight, guys.
Yep, everyone take a deep breath.
Damonte wasn't on a team at the beginning of this year, by the way. Blabber won't find the damage onto him, and a huge victory in this team fight.
We can end the game here.
We can end, I think.
The Golden Guardians will upset Cloud9.
End the fucking game. That's fucking it.
And they will take that win.
I don't think with our team we really have a leader. I think everyone is trying to be a leader more so, if that makes sense.
There's not a big superstar on the team. Everyone is just kind of people grinding the game out and doing their best all the time. And no, there's not really massive egos on the team. And it's a way different experience than I had playing on any of my other rosters.
Okay, there you go. So for context for everybody, I didn't do the best job of setting that up. So that's a clip rather than a trailer. They have already released the trailer on their Twitter. So if you guys want to go see something that is like maybe a more comprehensive look at what the series will be overall, rather than like a section of the video or the doc, you can go do that there. But thank you to Golden Guardians for giving us that early look at it. Inero, now that you've seen the clip, do you have context or do you want to set it up?
So I want to set the clip up. I mean, that just shows like part of one episode, man. So there's like, that was obviously kind of more of the high point towards the end. but it starts off with the like the downside. We started off like 1-4.
Do people yell at each other in it?
Do we yell at each other? I mean, there's definitely like some frank conversations in it, but it's not like, you know, we're beating the shit out of each other or anything, you know?
Okay. Does anyone else call someone dog shit on the ground?
No one called anyone dog shit on the ground, no.
Do you remember that,
Mark?
Mark? You get that
Oh,
reference?
what?
That was Chaos to Dyrus in the Game Cribs episode.
Oh,
that was like a meme for a long time. It was like...
It's kind of a weird thing to say.
Dog shit on the ground. I know, that's why it was like such this really pointed insult that I feel like people were really into it.
I mean, that was some good insults back in the day. I think we've regressed.
Hanser and Twitch chat says, check out next episode where I beat everyone up like they're watching UFC. And Closer says, check out next episode, I'm taking down Hanser. And now they're trash talking each other and using language I don't feel comfortable
Read the next one. Read Hanser's next message.
This is a family-friendly show. Anyway, so if you didn't want to hype it up more than that, that's where we got. So anyway, thanks to Golden Guardians for sharing that. And I mean, we've got a lot of Golden Guardian Sims that watch the show based on how many calls we get from them. So, but Mark, should we start pulling calls?
Yeah.
Something else we should talk about. Sorry, voting.
Oh, right.
Yes.
All pro and stuff.
All pro, etc. So here's the thing. We've talked about this before. I need to, in the next like 24 hours or so, I think Mark as well, some others, we're all going to vote, cast our votes on the MVP, coach of the split, all pro, etc. So this is a great time for people to call in with their opinions on maybe why Bjergsen deserves it, or why Core JJ deserves it, or why Hanser or Closer deserves it. Why anyone other than Inero deserves coach of the split.
That's fine, Travis. It's cool. I understand.
Any of that stuff. So this is a great episode to have those discussions. Again, I'm sure we'll get some CLG takes. I'm sure we'll get some other stuff from this past weekend. So, but really big episode, lots of cool stuff to talk about as we get into the calls. Mark, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, was there any other direction that you wanted to give people, but you kind of did. So
no.
Perfect.
But also, if you scroll down, if you're watching on Twitch right now, you can scroll down and there's also a link for you if you live in the US to register to vote in November, which I highly recommend you do because voter turnout is abysmal for people that are the age of all of us and also all of you. So you can go do that. It's really easy. Just click the link and register to vote. Mark is spamming the Discord right now.
Yeah, I was spamming the link to the Discord. A lot of people already have it, and there's way too many people posting, so I'm just going to skip all those 100 unread messages and get right back down to the bottom. You guys should fill while I do this, by the way.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know. I thought you were going somewhere with that. You're like, I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Like,
no, I'm saying there's a shitload of messages, and it's going to take me... I got to parse them.
Couldn't you have been looking and pulling some while, instead of trying to figure out how to get your camera shit to work?
Not.
I abandoned that mission, by the way.
Okay. Great. Glad you finally did. This I gotta say, this is the biggest shit show of an episode we've had in a while. I think it's great, but we're definitely starting off all over the place.
Heavy emphasis on the fun, not much analysis.
Yes. But we'll get into the big meaty stuff here in a little bit. Inero, what's how are you guys preparing for TSM this week? What's the vibe? What's going on?
How are we preparing? We're playing scrims, Travis. we didn't take a day off because we had to do scrims on Sunday because we played Friday, Saturday this weekend.
Yeah.
And we didn't know if we were gonna have to play tiebreaker versus EG, which would have been really nice to play. So we scrimmed that day just to be like prepared for it. So we're just grinding through. No breaks right now.
All gas, no breaks.
Yep, pretty much.
And are you? I mean, you guys, like, how confident are you that you can take them in a best of 5? Because obviously you lost this past week, so it's kind of wild that then you have sort of like the salty run back in a couple days.
Yeah, I think we should still be good. Like, honestly, a lot of our games, we always had big gold leads, and the problem's been like throwing with it. But we've also had like a pretty common denominator in those games that we have big gold leads that we're throwing, and it's something we're like super aware of too. And the whole purpose is to like practice and work on that. So like this weekend, we were also looking and like practicing those things, and the same issues popped up. But like it's important that we like are aware of that, you know?
Yeah.
Because doing that matters. Because like going into this weekend, like our games actually didn't really matter too much for placement. It was like we would move between 4th and 5th. We'd be playing the exact same teams no matter what we did, you know? The worst case,
but I mean, people were
so.
talking up the chances of you guys getting a positive rather than break-even win record for this split. So, I mean, that was...
Woo.
Maybe you don't... I guess you don't care as much, right? But
I got 10 wins, man. Hell yeah. Put that in my resume. Like, that doesn't matter.
It would be
it's
progress
nice,
in Inero over you guys not having gotten positive record in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's positive for having a nice win-loss in regular season, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's cool. It's cool, I guess, but it doesn't really matter too much to me, to be honest.
Playoffs are where it counts. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, how we looking?
We have someone in the room with us.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Hello, person in the room with us. What up,
Wheelz, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fairfax, Virginia.
Fairfax, Virginia. I'm going to turn you up just a little bit. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
This is funny because I actually had this take before I realized Inero was on the show today. But
Nice.
I think that Golden Guardians will upset TSM and they'll make it through, but they'll eventually lose to Team Liquid, but then they'll still take the 3rd spot to Worlds, beating either TSM or FlyQuest in the lower bracket.
Mark,
finals.
this is the 3rd week in a row that you've pulled a Golden Guardians will make Worlds take.
I had to do it, dude. We have Inero on. He can get a little feisty, so I want to give him a layup, set the mood right. You know,
okay.
Golden Guardians fan.
Yeah. Let's focus on rather than the Worlds take because we've beat that to death. Let's focus on the TSM part. Okay, so Wheelz. I kind of just asked Inero this and he gave me a sarcastic quip. But what makes you confident that they can beat TSM? Because obviously we just saw them lose this past weekend to the team.
Well, I think it's still a very even matchup, and I think it might go the distance, 5 games, but I think Closer is definitely a better jungler. I think Haunter has had some really good performances, like his Kennen was really good. I forget who they played it against. And his CS is insane. I think FBI and Huhi are an insane bot lane that can definitely go up against double lift and treats. And the only really losing lane I feel that Golden Guardians have, and this isn't any flame, it's just Bjergsen is insane, is that TSM do have a slight edge in the mid lane, but I think it's still definitely winnable for Golden Guardians, and I think they're a better team overall.
So you're looking at, it sounds like mostly jungle and top as like the deciding factors for Golden Guardians.
So, yeah.
The Diffie and the Jiffy.
Yeah. So here's the kind of what Inero was just pointing out though. Okay, that stuff is great, but then maybe you win lane and you get a gold lead and things look good, but are you not concerned that Golden Guardians has the tendency to throw a gold lead?
Well, I mean, I guess the Golden Guardians coaching staff's gotta. I have faith in the Golden Guardians.
I mean, it's a great point. You have such talented players. They just need a competent coaching staff to get them to figure out their macros.
There it is. Yep, there it is. Oh, that's fair. The stuff we have to work on in the middle part of the game. We mess up on. So, I mean, I'll always take flack for that. I'm chill with that type of thing. I just wanted to say one thing. It does feel nice that people give props to FBI and Hui now. Considering, God, man, I had to hear from everyone for so long that those two were just the shittiest bot lane ever. Just terrible players. Why is this guy imported? Why did they get Hui over, X? Any support out there, and they're doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. You obviously still get people giving flame, so it's nice to give props to them because they've kind of been playing like this for a little while, just a little bit under the radar because of team results. Seems like that's what people put a lot of basis on. So, but I agree with the first take. We'll beat TSM. Hell yeah, man! I'm down for that. I think it's doable for sure.
Mark,
I mean, so from the outsider's perspective, do you think how much stock do you put into the last week head-to-head matchup? I'm curious for Inero. Do you guys walk away from that going we made a couple minor mistakes and we just need to clean these little things up, or or the draft or whatever the points are, or do you feel like there's a lot to take away from that game? I'm curious about that, the feeling of how you guys matched up this week.
I mean, it's I feel like I say this type of thing a lot, so it kind of annoys me that I'm even going to say it, but it's a very minor thing, from the game. that is a very big shift and like a big change. Like if we fix that and are consistent on doing it, it will be like a really big boost for us and a big change that'll make like our games just feel so much better in general. So like definitely take that away from the games, but I don't think it's like, yeah, some big thing that is like dooming us in the games that we just can't
Right.
throw the lead from that we got from like these 2 games, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we suck at this one thing really bad. And I'm not going to say what it is because that would be just stupid as hell. But
yeah, I won't push you on that.
We get it from the games and we kind of know. So we were picking around that too to practice it.
Mark, I assume you have TSM favored to win that match.
I think TSM's favored. I haven't done predictions on these games yet. We had like obviously we finished show yesterday and we have like these like little basically online cards that we put our notes in.
Yeah.
And I don't really think about like the matchup. I just think about like the things I'll want to talk about. And I put in requests basically like, hey, show me, you know, the gold graphs from Golden Guardians games where they lose with a lead, you know, or like how often is that in Italy games? Or, you know, like I ask stats for this kind of information. Because if I'm like, man, yeah, Golden Guardians has lost a number of games with gold leads, but it's usually with this like one style that they maybe they shouldn't be playing or something, you know, like those are the kinds of things I'm looking at early in the week. I would say I think TSM's favored right now. And a large part of that is going to be about the head-to-head record. I think you guys, prior to this week, coming into this week, both teams were, I think, like 5-3 or 5-2 in their last 2 weeks, and then they went 1-1, and you went 0-2. So I don't put a ton of weight on it. I thought Golden Guardians was looking really good. I was pretty hot on them, even though they went 0-2 this week. And I think that they have really good laners and a really strong early game, and that sets them up well. And that's something that I think you can count on in playoffs is like when you have just mechanically solid lanes and players that like you don't, it makes it, I think, easier in a lot of ways, but they do need to clean up their mid game. Some simple things are like they're the second highest with major lead, I think, in the league, actually even higher than C9. I forget who was first. Someone's first. It's either C9 or TL first, and then Golden Guardians are actually number 2, and then I think it's actually TL is third. So it's like they often get gold leads, and they're really good at getting gold leads. It's about playing with those and closing games out. So like that still, in a lot of ways, makes me feel good about a team, though, that I know that they're going to consistently get leads for the most part. I do think TSM matches up quite well, and I think each team has one really clear advantage. I think Bjerg's in the mid lane, MVP candidate people are talking about. Demonte is solid, but I think Bjerg's definitely a tier above him. But I feel the same way in the jungle with Closer and Spica. And then top and bot, I actually think match up pretty well. So I think it should actually be a banger of a series. But I do lean towards TSM a little bit.
That's fair considering we lost to them.
bold prediction out of me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shit. No, this is what's very funny to me is like we had somebody in the chat who was flaving Mark for taking this take. I want to Greaser Greek was like, this is such a boring take. I'm like, I feel like predicting Golden Guardians to beat TSM, no offense, Inero, but is a crazier take. You know, I think a boring take might be like, Team Liquid will probably make it far. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Oh, you muted yourself, Mark.
Nice.
God, I had such a good pop off right there. I'll try and reenact it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Playoffs are coming up. What the fuck do you guys want to talk about?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. We're gonna turn you down a little bit. So I think you reenacted it too much. Okay, Wheelz.
Sorry.
Any concerns about what Mark brought up?
I mean, I think TSM is still a really good team. That's why I think it'll be close. But like with like the stats and everything about Golden Guardians getting gold leads, I feel like that's something that can be refined. And I think they have a really good shot. So I mean, the points are valid. Like it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a landslide either way. But I think it's a very real possibility of Golden Guardians taking it, and I would favor them if they can maintain the gold leads and follow through with them.
If we can win the game, I think we win the series.
Just destroy the enemy nexus. Come on now.
I think they got it in the bag if they win. So
thanks, John Madden. I say like 1 week turnaround time to improve like mid-game problems is not necessarily easy to do, but with the double elimination format and how many games you can get into a postseason run, assuming that, you know, even if you lose TSM, go down to the lower bracket or whatever and keep playing, like it actually is a good window to improve. And you like people play a lot of games. Like Clutch last year played more games in their playoff / gauntlet run than they played in all of summer.
Yeah.
So like if Golden Guardians play a tight 5-4 game series against TSM, even if they lose, then they sweep someone 3-0. I think you guys would play 100 if you lost. I forget. But then like, you know, like I'm just saying like there's a lot of games to play. I think the series will be really close though.
Yeah. Wheelz, thanks so much for the call. Anything you want to say before we move on to the next caller?
You just said it's a tight timeline to fix problems, but they have Nick Smith as their coach, so I believe that they can pull through.
Are you related to him in some way?
No.
What?
Thanks for the call.
See you guys.
Thanks, bro. See you.
What's Inero's like nickname if he was like a wrestler? Like Nick the Fixer Smith, Nick
the Fixer. Like what?
Why
matches?
The Fixer?
Yeah. Because you're
like a wrestling name.
Because you're fixing problems. You're the coach.
Oh yeah, true.
Aren't fixers normally like somebody's bad
now.
person? Like they go, I don't know. Anyway, you want to go grab their next caller?
Yeah.
Okay, off he goes. Shout out to some of our subs, by the way. The people who I haven't shouted out yet on stream. Something for Kobe. Thank you for the 1 year. Ceases Caroline. TG Zengitsu. The High Ground. Red Rain. Music. Blarney Stoner. I'm Justin T. Small Lung. Slips on Noodles. Adam XK. Finarson. Thank you for the prime. Jiba Jabak. And Wagix 1997. Oh, by the way, I think earlier today we had our first 3-year sub, which is wild. Durkon NA. I am Fug. Iceman 1986. Easy. Stay safe. And where's Mark? Rock King. Sorry, I'm filling time. Jason Nelson 24. TR Merrick. Come back, Mark. We need to talk. And land.
Travis,
what's up?
Can I get my mod back? You took my sword away.
I took your sword away because you mocked my decision to give mod to one of your players.
Yeah, I think that was a little extreme by you, but I appreciate you apologizing and giving it back to me. Thank you, Travis.
Okay, so I just gave it back, and now we're revoking it once more. Okay.
What happened?
SandyToez is here. Don't worry about it, Mark. And Inero and I are sorting something out. It's a power thing. SandyToez is here. SandyToez, where are you calling from?
Calling from Arlington, Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C.
Wasn't our last person also? Yeah, I was going to say West Virginia. Country.
Well, it's kind of close.
Anyway, what do you want to talk about, SandyToez?
My take is that Santorin should be in the MVP discussion, and if not voted MVP, definitely needs to be first team All-Pro. And I've got a couple statistical points to back that up.
I love it when people have done their homework before this. All right, bust out the Excel sheet. What does B1 say?
All right, well, let me just note that I did pull a lot of these stats from Oracle's Elixir, so shout out to them. But if you look at the stats for junglers, Santorin currently has the second highest KDA for junglers. He also has the highest kill participation, not just for junglers, but in the entire league. So this man is getting in every single fight. He's contributing all the time. He has the highest first blood rate. That's at a whopping 61%. In comparison, the next closest is Contracts and Dardock at 50 and 46. And they didn't even play, all the games this season. The next closest person was Pleeko with 18 games, and he's at like 44%. LCS showed that he has the second highest kills plus assists at 15. He's got the fourth highest goal differential at 10. And for junglers, he has the third lowest death share. Clearly, this is a guy who is contributing to his team in every way. He's got great synergy with PoE. And I think he's super underrated. He's flying under the radar. For a while, everyone's talking about Blabber and everything. But, there's been no like big name jungler to kind of fill that gap that Blabber has left over the last few weeks with C9 kind of being on a decline. And I really feel that Santorin is the star jungler of the summer split.
So, I agree. Santorin's really good. Obviously, I'm going to be a bit biased on this, I guess, but like,
oh, here we go.
I think Closer as well should be in the discussion for like top like jungler. Like, okay, we lose a lot of games, but if you look at like what's actually happening in jungle, like we kind of spend a lot of our time playing around jungler and making sure he's enabled to, push his lead against the enemy, and we kind of do that all the time. But like, I think Santorin's also really fucking good. Like, he's definitely the other jungler that's up there right now. It's like a really, really good player, and he's always been like this. Like, he's always been one of the top junglers.
So the follow-up then is, there's two follow-ups, I guess. One, are you saying then that Santorin and Closer should be in the MVP discussion, or more that Closer should be in the discussion for best jungler and Santorin's not really in the discussion for MVP? Or
I don't know about like the MVP discussion for like the Santorin thing. I guess you could, but I think he's good. It's just always hard. I guess like in his team, it's kind of hard, especially with like what he plays, to really shine as like an MVP.
Well, to Mark's point though, you can't say Santorin should be in the MVP discussion if and Closer should be in the like above him in the jungle discussion without saying Closer should be in the MVP discussion, right?
Yeah. I think I'm mainly just focused on the jungle take. Like, MVP is always hard because it depends on like what you consider MVP valuable. What?
I said the take is about MVP. That's what the caller called about.
Yeah, but I think Inero's just saying that he's not. He probably wouldn't. Would you put Santorin in the MVP discussion? Because he was saying that like with his champ pool and stuff, it's hard to necessarily shine when he's on Trundle a lot of games. And he's.
I would still consider it. It's just always harder. Like, it's always harder when you're just considering like what people are playing and stuff. Like, it makes it a little bit difficult to just compare. But I mean, I would consider it. I would consider him with like CoreJJ and Bjergsen and like those guys,
Before
I'd definitely have him in the discussion.
Before I toss this back to Mark, Sandy, what do you think of the Closer stuff? Like, I assume since you're pushing Santorin, you would not push Closer above him. So where do you think Santorin edges out Closer?
Yeah. Well, I will say second half of my take was that if he's not MVP, he should be first team All-Pro. I think Closer is the second best jungler in the league. I think Golden Guardians would not. I think they would still be in playoffs, but they would not be a 9-win team without Closer. I think he has really carried a lot of their games with Damonte. But yeah, I just think Santorin clearly has. I look at statistics. That's kind of my whole thing. Is I look at stats, and I'm just seeing the stats are better across the board for Santorin, and that's why if I was voting, he'd be my first team All-Pro.
Mark,
okay, ask me a question
here.
I don't think Santorin is going to win MVP. I think if because you have to put 3 in. I wouldn't be surprised if he got some. I think just based off how people vote for MVP, a 5th place team like Golden Guardians is going to struggle to get a lot of votes because people are almost always wanting to give it to a top 3 player or top 3 team.
Yeah.
So like even if Closer and Santorin are close in skill, Santorin will naturally just get a lot more attention being on the higher place team. I think CoreJJ and Bjerg, but especially CoreJJ, have a lot of pull right now with voters. I think Santorin will be a real dark horse. I think you can make the case that he was the best jungler of this split. He was definitely the most consistent. And I think your top 3 for most people would be some combination of Closer, Santorin, and Blabber. I don't think anyone else is really going to break into that top 3 by anyone. And it's probably about ordering depending on what kind of things you're looking at and what you're valuing. Santorin, super fucking smart jungler. He his level 2 ganks I think are the best in the league. He always finds a way to fuck up the enemy team's game plan or advance his own with his level 2 ganks. Whereas some level 2 ganks are like tank versus tank match up top. You show up and like, haha, I use my Maokai's W and like all our flashes to kill your tank top, and then the matchup still goes even because it's whatever. Whereas like Santorin's games always feel like they really matter. That said, he doesn't take over games, and this is kind of what I think Inero was talking about with his champion pool. His team is never asking him to be like Blabber or Contracts even or Closer where they're getting played around heavily. He is playing around his team. And so you can debate which one's harder to do, which one's more valuable, which one you care more about. So he is playing a bit differently than anyone else.
I mean, I guess we'll have to see how everything pans out. It does. I mean, Mark, how difficult is it going to be for you to decide between Santorin and Closer in the jungle voting situation? It sounds like you're giving Santorin the edge, though.
I'm a big Santorin fanboy, but like the whole thing's fucked because C9's back half. Because Blabber was the best carry jungler in the league, hands down, no questions asked, easy peasy, lock it up, first place, vote through half the season. And now it's like, oh, I don't know. But he still actually played early games pretty well, I think, for the most part. Even in their losses, he was still like comboing well with Niski when they were killing. They picked on someone early. I forget. Was it Bjergsen or?
Well, so my
point is he still did a lot of what junglers are often looked at mostly for their pre-15 minute gameplay, and Blabber's pre-15 was actually a lot of the time still okay, even in the back half of the split. Outside of a couple Jarvan games that no one likes, but some of the other ones were still okay. It was like, okay, as Hecarim made a lot of shit happen, then the team fighting struggled. And that wasn't even his fault. He didn't get a Shen ult when he thought he was going to get one,
So I'm kind of curious, not to bring up a topic I'm sure we've talked about a lot in the past, but I was talking to Kobe a little bit about this. What do you think of the idea of a recency bias test being, okay, well, what would we be saying right now if the first half and the second half of the split were swapped? Because I feel like everyone would be talking about Blabber for MVP and top jungle if the first half of the split occurred now. And generally speaking, I feel like a lot of people would say the methodology should be taking into account the entire split. So if you make the argument like, okay, well, if their performance in the first half was the same as the second half, was swapped, that means that everyone would be saying this like that. I feel like that's a pretty good recency bias test.
Yeah, but you also can't discount the fact that as teams get better, you start to see how good players actually are. Because a lot of the times players can be performing well and their team sucks and you don't know how good they are and you just look at result and you're like, oh, this guy sucks. Like, I mean, it's the same shit with like FBI and stuff. Like everyone said he was just terrible. I had so many people say he's like a bottom like 280 carry and like he was performing like very similar to right now the entire time. It's just like people didn't recognize it because we were losing games.
I also think
you have to account for that.
I also think I'd like to hear what Inero thinks. But for me, I think recency bias is something you have to, protect against a little bit, which is why I'm still keeping Blabber in that conversation as potentially the best jungler in the league. But I also think that recency does matter. Like, yeah, we could flop the second half of this. Like, if you flop C9 story, it's a team that's struggling to be 500 in the first half of the split into hitting their groove, becoming fucking god tier, and running over into second place, right? Through a crazy run. That's their story if you flop them. But you can't just fucking flop the story. Like, they didn't get better. They got fucking worse. That they were at the high level and they dropped. That matters. I don't think you can just, kind of ignore recency in that regard. I do think heading into playoffs and rallying late and as you get better and improvements and all these things that I care a lot about, I don't want to throw those out just because like, oh, recency bias. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm weighting what happened recently more importantly because it is more important.
Yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing with you, but in what way is it more important? Because at the end of the day, C9 got second. And
because as Inero said, people are all ramping up over the course of the season. Generally, the level of play is getting higher and higher. I think Golden Guardians is playing better in the back half than they were in the first half. Yes, some teams slump, but I would say generally league is improving. And so when people start playing really well in the second half of the split, that means that they have improved. Whereas if you have slumped, you have gotten worse. yes,
or,
you could say,
or everybody else has gotten better around you.
or everyone else is caught up, right? It's
Yeah.
little column A, little column B, whatever. But that's why I think recency does matter, because there things changed. You can't just look at like a performance in a vacuum and a performance in a vacuum and a performance in a vacuum. It's good to do that, so that way you're at least trying to be objective. But then you also have to look at the whole split and what your trajectory was, because I will always appreciate a team more that they're, if a player went from struggling to finding his groove to fucking stomping, I will always appreciate that guy more than stomped in the beginning and then tanked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone a little off topic, but
it was a good topic though. I
think it was good. Yeah. To bring it back to SandyToez. SandyToez, any final thoughts or takes on anything that we just said?
No, I think Mark had some good points there. FlyQuest 7-2 in the second half. I think they ramped up at the exact right time. I'm excited to watch them. Big fan, and hope they win.
Well, thanks so much. Have a good evening, and
Thanks
thanks for the call. And thanks for the sub earlier, by the way.
Oh yeah, and a quick shout out to Alienware and any Prime subs. If anyone has any, throw them to Travis.
Thank you.
He needs them.
They're Prime game subs, by the way. It's no longer Twitch Prime. Did you guys see this? They've
I'm
changed
a Prime
Twitch
gamer.
There's no such thing as Twitch Prime anymore. There's now only
That's so weird.
or Prime game. Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Prime,
thanks.
Yep.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Prime gamers, it's finally our time. Okay, let's take a quick break to talk about Alienware, as our caller just shouted out. Alienware right now, they wanted me to let you all know about something that is going to take place in just a couple days. If you're watching this or listening to it later on in the week, it might be happening right now. August 13th is the start of Intel Gamer Days, and Alienware is participating by giving away an amazing setup, a powerful Intel PC, a 34-inch curved monitor, peripherals, a $300 Steam card, everything you need. So you can enter to win that at alienware.com/Travis. There's going to be a banner going up there on the 13th. And Intel Gamer Days last for quite some time in August. So be sure to stick around for later in the weeks as Alienware does more stuff as well. But right now, that's the giveaway that they're going to be doing starting on the 13th. And we'll talk more about Intel Gamer Days as time goes on. You can check out their Twitter, Alienware, for more information. And again, Alienware.com/Travis. That's linked in the description below. And by the way, if you are in the mood to purchase something, you can use Travis10 off Q3 to save 10% off your order. All right, let's move on to the next caller. Mark, you want to go grab somebody?
He is out there.
Yes, he is. Inero.
What up?
I heard you were painting. You're a painter now.
Yeah, I've been painting, learning to paint. I'm kind of bad at it, but that's all right. I've done like 8 paintings so far.
What caused this? Just a de-stressing thing?
It was actually like I had a date night with my ex like a year ago, and we were just doing like a Bob Ross paint thing, and I really liked it. It's kind of cool, and then I'm just learning to do that to kind of de-stress, and it's fun. It's pretty chill.
That is cool. Mark,
this call is going to be cool because I want to get Inero's take on it because they're playing them. I think it's going to be interesting.
Pleeko is here. Pleeko, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mason City, Iowa.
Mason City, Iowa. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I wanted to talk about how in the TSM TL game, I think TSM overall played the game better than TL, and they only lost because of some small mechanical misplays in the mid-late game.
What do you have any supporting points for that stuff?
Yeah, so I think that the game would be wildly different if Spica had managed to pick up that Ocean Dragon that Broxa was able to steal with the Smite, especially being the Lee Sin combo, with the Q execute Smite, and then Double Lift not using his blue trinket when they were doing Baron, and instead he warded it was a bush entering river by blue buff. And I think that if Spica had landed the Smite or Double Lift had spotted the Baron while they were trying to sneak it, I think the game would have been completely different.
Is it one or the other? Or do you need both for the game to be completely different?
I think it's one or the other.
Okay.
So I was gonna ask Inero, how closely did you watch that game?
How closely did I watch it? I mean,
Yeah.
I've watched it for like prep, but like when it was on at the moment, like during the day, I was like zoned out for it. But yeah, I went back and watched it for prep.
Okay, so you have a pretty good idea of how much do you agree that it was like mechanical misplays and stuff that
I mean, that like always plays into it though, you know? Like that's kind of like every loss can kind of come down to like mechanical misplays of things. Like, yeah, if they got like those dragons, like they fucking win the game, right? But yeah, that type of thing always happens, you know? Like it's just there's things they could do better, like earlier in the game to be in a better spot. Like literally both teams could, and they would win without having to be in like that situation where like, oh, they made a mechanical mistake. Like that always happens. So you could look at those and say like the same type of thing, you know? But yeah, like if they didn't do those things, they also could have won the game, right? It's like I don't know. I feel like it's something you can kind of just say about like anything, like any game. So it's like, of course, it's going to be true, you know?
Yeah. So my question was though, like, how much would you put on? Everyone's always going to make mechanic mistakes or macro mistakes or draft mistakes, whatever it is. There's always some kind of combination, usually, of these things going on, unless it's really egregious. But like, did you think that the mechanical stuff like was a bigger problem than like Baron? You know, like giving that one just away for free and giving TL so much control in the game off that, or like some of the Rift Herald stuff where like GP TP'd behind on the first Drake late, kind of just they lost a lot of tempo, and then TL flipped top, grabbed Rift, and got both Rifts and these kinds of things off a lot more early game control. Like I personally thought those were bigger problems than just
it's just like a mix, man. Like it's always a mix. It's like it's because of the situation they were in. Like mechanical mistake, like definitely mattered the most then because of game state. But like there was other shit, and it's hard to really like quantify like one is more important than the other one, because like, okay, even if they got like those situations better, like early on, like they played it better macro wise, if they still made the same mechanical mistake later and like lost it to like a 50-50 or something, then like they still lost the game. Like it didn't even matter. So dude, it's just hard to say. I always find like those kind of like comments and questions hard to really like argue with too much, because like you're right, like in that moment, like yeah, like fuck dude, if you got the smite, it's just game over, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard to go into too much like more in depth with that without like revealing stuff that I would not want to like reveal about like team that I am playing, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Mark,
blink
how about
twice if you want to give Broken Blade his GP.
yeah, dude.
Mark, how about you? Because
blink.
you know, let's say this was brought up on the analyst test. Like Dash raises this as, was it really, you know, was TSM playing the game better and just failed in these two mechanical moments? You know, what would your response be after having watched that game?
I would say no. I think that it was a close game. You know, the gold lead was really close for a large portion of the game.
Yeah, neck and neck, basically.
Yeah, so like I don't think either team played significantly better. I thought there were things that TL did better at some points and things that TSM did better at some points. But TL, to their credit, and one of the things that I think is the main reason that they secured first place is that they don't make that Baron mistake ever. Like they almost never make the oops, I just fucking lost us the game mistake. Almost none of their players ever individually do that. Whereas other teams have hoonies and people, you know, just like, oh, game's over because I coin flipped poorly. It was just the first player that popped into my head. It was the first example that popped into my head. Okay, I'm saying
that
like
player's totally a hoonie, by the way.
I mean, like the only instance I can legitimately think of this for TL was when Impact fucking killed himself into solo this split. I think that's the only game I can be like, yeah, that was one player just
that was pretty yeah.
Yeah,
that was kind of bad.
But the fact that stands out so much to me compared to like, you know, Dignitas, it's happening all over the place, and you know, TSM has players making these kinds of mistakes, and even C9 more recently has done these kinds of things. I think the fact that they never throw the game, you can beat TL, but they'll never throw it really, is why they're first, and that's why I think against TSM, it's not fair to say that TSM, you know, played better when they made the biggest mistakes, then TL was able to capitalize.
TL is kind of just the same as old TL now, like how they were before last split, I guess. They're really, really fucking consistent. So
yeah,
like they may not yeah, I don't know. They
I mean,
may
people
like
say
mess
they're
up
not
and
flashy.
make a mistake, but Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be flashy to win. Like, they'll
I mean,
make a
I know.
mistake and they'll just like slowly like recover from that mistake. I mean, we'll do it sometimes. We'll make a mistake and we fucking turbo run that thing down. We'll make that mistake like a huge one, and then it's like, all right, guys, all right, we need to chill and like recover. Like, TL will like lose one, and they're like, it's very clear that they're like okay with like giving that up and like good playing around that. So like, I mean, that's like a mark of a good team. So like they're good.
Pleeko, any sort of follow-ups on any of this?
I mean, I do. Yeah, I think I really agree with like everything that you guys were saying, especially about how like Team Liquid is such a consistent team, so it's hard for them to actually like make mistakes and just lose off of like one individual mistake. I do think that in the game, just to kind of try to defend my point a little bit more, I guess, I think TSM was more often in a better position, I guess, to take objectives or get some kind of lead than TL was. And I think it just came down to those small little moments that actually cost them the game, even though in terms of saying that they played better, I think that they were prepping better for the important parts of the game.
I mean, it sounds like Inero would say maybe that's true, but it's not really like it. In the end, that's what happened, and that's why
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah. They played better on that. They would have won. They would have been better. And they were doing pretty good. They were in position to win the game, and mechanical mistake lost them their position to win the game. So it happens.
Yeah,
but I would definitely
always a mix.
I'll take the further side. I don't think that they were playing better than TL in any significant way. Like their resets were worse. They lost Baron off bad line assignments and TPing to waves they needed TP to, and dropping wards in pretty weird spots. Like those kinds of things matter. They're not flashy. You don't see them, but like if you go back and rewatch like all the things that led up to them losing that Baron, it wasn't just like, oops, our blue trinkets were on cooldown. It was like a sequence of really bad team coordination.
Pleeko, thanks so much for the call. Any shout outs before we say goodbye?
I guess just thanks for doing Hotline League. I think I've watched almost every episode for like the past like year and a half. Super
Nice.
Insightful, especially with the guests that you get on here. Big fan of Golden Guardians, by the way. I've been a fan of Hanser since the TSM days and everything.
Yeah,
hope you guys do well, and I
calls
hope the games are bangers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, man.
Good one.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
I'm waiting for somebody to call in and say they're a Golden Guardian hater, because
That's fun.
We only get the Golden Guardian fans on this show, so
yeah.
Because Golden Guardians no one hates Golden Guardians.
People used to. Anyway,
that's the older time, Travis.
Yes, I mean, I think part of the reason why people have been, I get the sense that Golden Guardians is a lot of people's favorite, like second favorite team. You know, maybe they're like a TL fan or a TSM fan or something, but Golden Guardians is there. I think in part because your story was very much, I've said this on the show before, but like Golden Guardians just gradually improved this whole split and just kind of got better and better. So it was easy to kind of hop on that train and not feel bad the next week if suddenly, this team I thought was good is not as good or whatever.
Travis, I found your arch enemy. Here we go.
Oh, boy. I'm nervous now. Ezstaysafe, I believe, has been on the show before. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Arlington again, but Texas, not from Virginia. Yeah.
Wait, from what?
Texas, Arlington, Texas. It's to Dallas.
Here in Dallas. Okay. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take is that people saying that COG needs to be removed from the franchise league because of their bad year is just completely wrong.
Okay, what if it was because of multiple bad years? What if it was because their org has been unable to develop a fan base or keep the one that they had previously?
All right, I feel a strong bias on your end, but like let me just offer
I've
you
called it
this.
opinion, which is what I have.
Let him get the takeout.
Continue.
Travis.
Let me just get the takeout. Okay, people need to realize the difference between a team doing bad and the management doing nothing right to make the team better is a different thing. An org can try things, and maybe those things don't work out, but it's different from teams not trying at all. So if you look at the timeline, last year, COG was placed third, right? They had PoE. They replaced PoE for Crown. Crown, who won Optic, looked amazing. He played the talent game, and I was like, oh my god, he's so good. Great, he's a world champion. Let's get him. When they did get Crown to replace PoE, after they placed third, I was hyped for them. The casters were hyped for them. The analyst desk was hyped for them.
Were you hyped for them?
And
Mike?
then
I was.
Let him get his take out.
I was hyped for it. I thought they were going to be good.
Easy.
Like from scrimming them, I thought they were going to be good. They were good in scrimming the whole time. So.
Thank you, Inero. Everyone thought that they were going to be good. And then he shit the bed. I agree. And they did bad. But then halfway through the season, when he was doing bad, they deleted his contract. I don't know how much they paid him for letting him go, and they brought in PoE. Great. PoE looked good in that Cinder game. He looked good in a couple of games before the season ended, and they were like, okay, maybe we want to give this roster a shot.
And then what happened?
They gave their roster a shot. Yes, they looked bad again, but that doesn't mean that they're not making an effort.
All right, you said that they brought PoE in, and he looked good.
Yeah, when they brought PoE in, they beat who did they beat?
You're right. So why?
Well, first they missed playoffs, and then they brought Rune in after benching Darshan. Then they made playoffs. There was 2019 spring did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My whole point with people saying that they need to be kicked out of the franchise league because they're not doing anything is wrong. They are doing stuff. Now, I agree with you that they're doing the wrong things, but that doesn't mean they're not doing things at all. If a team just said that, hey, you know what? We're here to take the 9th place every split. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to put 5 random people in there. Sure, kick them out. But they are doing stuff. Right? I think they're trying.
Yeah, I think honestly, I would agree with the take. Just personally, I'm not a huge fan of CLG or anything. It's just not my team or org. But they did go from the last year, they were a bottom team to they got third. Obviously something changed and they were willing to make change on their team and it moved them up. And then this year, it's honestly, especially with Corona stuff happening, really hard to make a change in the middle of the year if you don't have the best people to pull from academy. And you can look at that and say that's a problem with what they did on their management side or something and team building, and that's fair. But it is realistically it's a year. And it's kind of harsh to say that. I think obviously Riot has a system for kicking people out of the league if they do poorly overtime and everything, right? And I think it's definitely a little lax. I think it would be super hard to hit that limit where you just get kicked out for being so bad that happens. Maybe that needs to be a little bit more strict for it, but I don't know. It's a big investment, whatever makes investors happy, I guess.
I need to,
but
yeah.
This
I have
year
to.
was it's hard for them to make a change, man. I feel like there was other stuff internally. It's not like their players were all bad. I'm telling you, their players are not all bad. And in scrims, they were a pretty good team. They were much better than a good amount of the teams. I'd rather scrim them than some of the teams that are in playoffs. But they were not bad to play. It's just there was other shit going on for sure. So saying they should be relegated, I think, would be such a bad take.
I definitely don't agree with the kick them out of the league shit. But oftentimes, as someone who appears on camera, and I'm sure, people can feel. I mean, I'm sure coaching is the same way. When people blast you for shit that they have no insight on, it's your job isn't really to listen to exactly what people are saying, but to feel what they're feeling, to understand why they're saying these things. So I'm not saying CLG should get kicked out of the league or anything, but I understand why fans are fucking frustrated.
Oh yeah, for sure. Fans are going to be upset. They should. I can understand a fan making the take yeah, they should be relegated for this. This is unacceptable. That. It's whatever. That's fans, that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, I can't say I want them relegated, but I can say I understand why fans who have been with this team for a long time feel like they have this kind of, oh fuck it, just put me out of my misery mentality. Because as hard as it was to make moves in the off season between splits and stuff, and we don't know budgets, and this is one of those things that we'll never really know. At the same time, people sign Dardoch when he became a free agent. People sign Hooney. Those are moves that they could have loaded up on to potentially look into.
I mean, they did sign Dardoch.
CLG didn't sign Dardoch.
I think he's saying they did in the past, like they had
Yeah.
Dardoch before.
Yeah.
But as an org, they may just not want him now. You know, like
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should have thought harder about that one. I don't know. He looks pretty good on Dig. Got them into playoffs. What do you want me to say? You know, like. So my point is, like, it's definitely hard. Like, you're not going to go recruit someone from Europe during this time, but there were players moving around. Viper, even, you know, like if you want another example, like they could have looked for options, and I understand why people feel disappointed in the org. You know, going for what they call a run back. I think, you know, I know Travis asked if I was excited about CLG coming into the split. I was not. I got sold on it a little bit because I heard they were doing well in scrims and a couple people wanted to hype them up. I was never a huge Crown fanboy. I think he's really good in terms of like mechanical skill and stuff, but I never thought he integrated super well with the teams that he was on. Whether do the language barrier, who knows? You know, I never thought it worked out super well. And then when they brought in Smoothie, I don't feel bad saying this at this point, but like some of the other casters like went to a boot camp at the start of the year, and they were talking about how they had communication issues or some shit like last year, and they're gonna improve.
The casters went to a CLG boot camp.
Yeah, during off season, it's not too uncommon for a caster to go to, you know, a team house and just get like a little interview Q&A to prep for the year, these kinds of things. And
You guys never done that with us.
You guys,
man.
Yeah.
Sorry, let Mark finish.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I had a joke. I wanted to roast Golden Guardians. I was like, fuck it, it's not worth it. But so one of the things they said was like, okay, we had communication issues last split. TSM kicked Smoothie for communication issues, and they brought Smoothie in to fix their communication issues. And like one of the things people have said was like, Smoothie talks too much or can clog comms and stuff like this. And then they were saying like, oh, we were too quiet, so we're gonna fix this problem by putting in a player with their own different style of communication issues. And like they were trying to sell that to us, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, what the fuck? Like as soon as like the other people reported that back to me, I was like, what the that it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't think Smoothie's a bad player. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like the organizational approach to fixing your communication issues by bringing in this thing, you know, this other problem that like two wrongs make a right somehow. I was like, what? It was mind-boggling that was like what they're trying to sell as a positive to us.
Can I talk yet?
Yeah. Okay. Now go ahead.
This is a take about your take, Travis. So yeah.
I know, and I haven't been able to talk. I was trying to get in on Ezstaysafe, and then Twitch chat's flaming me for interrupting, and then Inero goes in, and then Mark goes in. I'm ready to go. Okay.
Travis,
so here's the thing. Look, I think what you are probably referencing, Ezstaysafe, is a tweet that I made half jokingly at the beginning of the split, in which I said, I'm a fan of franchising, but CLG makes a good case for relegation. You know, Twitter's a great place to make quips and a bad place to have nuanced takes. So let me explain why that was more a quip than a nuanced take. Or rather, what the nuanced take is. I don't think that CLG should get relegated right now. I don't wish that CLG was getting relegated. I do think that if I was the commissioner, I would be having a serious discussion with CLG about a multitude of issues, and they are probably the same list of reasons why my take is actually MSG should sell CLG, and the competitive side is only one aspect of where I have been so disappointed in this org. I've talked a little bit about this before on the show, so I apologize for people who have heard this before, but now is as good a time as any to bring some of the stuff back up. Like CLG, we talk about TL, TSM, C9. These are the three teams that people always talk about. They are up at the top. They have the biggest brands. Players will decline to even consider other teams if one of those is an option. CLG used to be that. People don't remember that Curse and TL, no offense Steve who's in the chat right now, like Curse was fourth not only in placing, but like a distant fourth in terms of brand and popularity. And CLG had that position. Now, a good part of that was probably because Doublelift was on the team for a long time, and then Aftermoon, etc. But they used to do a lot of very interesting things. Now, two conflicts of interest I'll name here. One is Kelby, who used to run the team at that time, my best friend, so obviously I'm a little biased there. But it's somewhat countered by the fact that Nick Allen, also one of my good friends, he started working there whenever MSG was there, and I feel like some of the problems that they have now are problems that started or existed whenever he was there. So take that for what it's worth. But it's been so disappointing to see this org's fall from grace, and it started long before MSG purchased. But when MSG purchased CLG, I was like, first off, a lot of people don't remember this, but it was one of the first times where we saw a major sports org come in and purchase, or at least take a big stake in an LCS team. People thought it was exciting. I thought it was exciting. I know people make Jim Dolan jokes or whatever, but I really expected like, oh, this is going to level this team back up and help it get back to the place where they were before. The problem is ever since then, they have only lost ground in branding, competitiveness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I do not know if that is because they are not willing to spend enough on all areas of their business, or if it is because people are asleep at the wheel or whatever. This is always really difficult for me to say because like I have friends over there, and I do think that there are people that are trying desperately to have that organization find success, which is even more part of the reason why I find it so disappointing whenever they fail in multiple categories. So anyway, Ezstaysafe and for Inero and Mark, who I think also think that this team shouldn't get relegated. I agree it shouldn't get relegated, but this org has to, like, it's got to figure out a way to reclaim its former glory, or at least get close to it. Because right now, like, my God, look at FlyQuest. All right, they were the butt of every joke for so long, and they are just destroying CLG in every category, and there's no reason that they should. Like, you have all the basics, you've got the history, you've got the pedigree, and like they just are just hard hinting it. Like it's so disappointing. So that's like when I make those tweets like that, that's the aggravating thing. And I talked to people about this at the start of this year, and I know that it's been tough with like COVID and all that stuff, but like nothing that has happened this year on the competitive side or elsewhere has made me change my opinion on any of this.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with a lot of what you said. I 100% agree with all of what you said. But I would also like to say that, like, as far as LCS goes, unless a team is doing good, no one cares about the branding. Guess what? No one really cared about, as much as I hate to say it, Inero, I've played games with you, but like no one cared about Golden Guardians before they started doing good this way.
Oh, of course, no one cares unless you're winning.
Yeah, no one cares about your brand, about your org, unless you're winning. No one cared about FlyQuest until they started doing good. Like, guess what? FlyQuest existed as an org before PoE joined them, before they started doing good. You can have as great as an impact as a brand, and it will only do so much unless your team is winning.
I mean,
CLG went into relegation against Azure Cats, and people cared about them. You can, like, I totally agree that if you're a new org, it takes winning to really give yourself a big boost. But CLG had, and somewhat still has, an existing fan base of people who want to give a shit. And here's the thing, like, I would be down to give them the benefit if I looked and was like, yeah, you're right, man. It's tough for them. A lot of people don't care right now because they're not winning. But look at all the things that they are doing. Look at like the really innovative stuff. Like they've got, Sequest going, or they've got, I don't know. It's just like, I know they produce some content. I know they do some stuff, but like it, with the power of MSG, you would think that they could do far more and be far more interesting and relevant. Like it's just not there,
Yeah, they for sure should be able to. Like they have the ability to. Like, yeah, even where they're at, like I guess like Kelsey put like a good response to it. Like 100 Thieves isn't winning really, and their brand is still like good. They're not. Yeah. I guess they won last split, so maybe like some of that's like carrying over, like residual or whatever. But like, I mean, CLG was third last year and didn't really have any branding care about that. They're definitely slacking on that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Minnesota style stuff is just, like what the hell is that anyways? Whereas like Golden Guardians, even before they started winning, they started branching out and trying different things. Like They had their like really classy, like done up
shoot,
look.
yeah.
Yeah. They had Inero's like coach's thoughts things where he'd tweet out.
Oh, God.
I know you probably fucking hate those, but I have to say they are
Just win the
appreciated.
game.
Yeah. At least it's something, you know, like at least you guys are trying to do things. They memed us last split.
They had the big hype videos. I thought were cool.
They make hype videos. You know, we had a little bit of banter last split, you know, where they clapped back at the dive for predicting them to suck. And then they were better than they made playoffs. And then as soon as they lost, I was like, yeah, fuck you guys. Haha. And like, you know, like if at least it's like fun. Whereas like, I just, where's the fun with CLG? It doesn't exist.
And if, by the way, if you go to their subreddit, the CLG subreddit is both entertaining and depressing, because there is still a group of fans that want so desperately, like more fans there than you'll see, like, you know, Golden Guardians, FlyQuest. They don't have these kind of active, like, cult followings hanging out on like a subreddit ready to, you know, just give them anything, you know.
And to be fair, I think Warden was pretty active in like responding to the Reddit and maybe the Discord or something, but like that's not really organizational support necessarily so much as just like one member doing it.
Yeah.
That's not vision. That's just someone.
It's just someone doing something. He was doing his like Warden talks or whatever every week or something. Like that was their brand. Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty sad if they're not putting actual stuff out.
I mean, they do. Okay, I just want it because I know I don't want to get dismissed, but like they do actually release content. It's just like,
do they?
Yeah,
it's just
if you go to their YouTube, it's not differentiated enough. I don't think I think I personally have a theory that some of this is budget oriented, right? Like Golden Guardians creates this big hype piece where everybody's in San Francisco and you've got contracts reading manga in a that's how you manga in a bookstore, and you know, like that's costs a lot of money. CLG's not doing anything like that, and so I think it's just oftentimes the people that are over there just kind of have a shoestring budget is my theory, but I don't know. It's
that costs a lot of money.
It does. That video costs a lot of money. No, not him reading manga. If the video that they made, that Golden Guardians made, that hype video was, I believe, expensive. I know how much it costs.
The like 80s thing.
No, not the 80s. Like that was a buddy made that. That was also good. But I'm talking about, you might not remember. Maybe you didn't see it. It was like, this was when Mickey was on the team, and there's like
I wasn't there then.
Shots of the bridge and all this cool stuff.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh yeah.
And anyways, the point is less that like they don't make content at all, but vision and I think voice, like CLG or C9 is super active on social media. Like half of what makes them interesting is not their YouTube content. I don't even watch C9 YouTube content. It's just seeing them meme the fuck out of everybody, and like Portillo is just a god at his job. You know, like those are the things that help.
And by the way,
fans.
like, so some people might say, okay, well maybe our players are not like as I don't know. You don't have like Svenskeren going off and doing banger tweet #LiveEvil with all the players. I get that sometimes the players aren't going to be there, but like if you are serious about building a brand, like look, Team Liquid hired Jatt to run or to be their coach. I'm sure a great deal of that is competitive, and like maybe we have a call later on about Coach the Split, maybe we don't, I don't know. But like that is also a really good brand play, and you got to imagine Steve was more willing to paid by Steve Jatt because of the fact that he knew that like Doublelift is leaving. If I get Jatt, like that's also a great name to have attached with. CLG could, for instance, hire Kobe. Like I don't know. Maybe they've reached out to him. He this is not some discussion I've had. He's not telling me to do this, but like that is a parallel, right? Like, hey, we're bringing Kobe back. He was one of the founding members. Blah 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 blah. You know, like there are decisions you can make that will get people invested and interested in you that CLG just doesn't make.
Yep.
Cool. Good talk.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, especially about the Kobe thing. I think they should definitely bring him out. Like the whole Faith thing. I've been a fan of CLG and you for like a long time, and this topic has gone on for really long. But before I leave,
I've never had a caller before. But like, we should really move on.
I've been on the other end where I've waited for people to finish talking, and I don't want to be that person. So before I did leave, I did want to say that CLG did hire Travis to do some content, and I mean, how
He's
did
hired
that?
me?
Didn't you do some content?
I
with
did it
them?
for free. Yeah, I don't take money from
Oh.
teams. If you ever see me in team content, I'm doing it for free because I don't want to. I can't take the money. But
That's depressing. Actually.
Wait, Travis made some crappy CLG content.
they offered me to be in their content. Yeah, I made a cameo in like a trivia show that they did a while ago. I'm down to help teams. I'm not just here to shit on them. I want to see these teams succeed. I did a shoot for with Ovely for a team. I don't know if I can say who, but today she pulled me into something. I did it for free.
Wow, okay. That makes me more sad for CLG. But anyways,
they offered to pay me.
Oh, okay. My topic wasn't more so that they were doing everything right, because I definitely think that they can do more, but just that they don't deserve to be relegated more so. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think we all agree with that then, at least.
But you did a great job of covering of initiating the much needed CLG conversation. So.
Half that was just stored up thoughts by Travis he wanted to get out.
I mean,
Travis Ben Sesh.
He came at me. Anyway, easy, stay safe. Any shout outs before we move on to the next caller?
Yes, I would love to shout out Alienware and DraftBuff whenever they're sponsoring you. And then my girlfriend would like to shout out this.
Hi, can I just shout out your Hotline Love League episode? It was a really fun episode, and I hope you do more special editions like that in the future. But in the meantime, keep up the great work.
Thank you. Good night.
Hey, Travis, you did a Hotline Love League? What is that?
1-2 punch.
What is that?
That was a clean shout out.
I keep shouting it out because she makes me, and Travis keeps shooting it down. So
I thought we set you and your girlfriend up?
Huh?
There was a couple. Didn't we have like 1 or 2 success stories from that, Travis? I don't know if this was one of them.
No, he definitely did. And
Rico Suave was one of them.
And she subbed just to put that message in, and he was like, "Nope." So
wait, sorry, I helped your relationship?
Not mine. You helped a different relationship.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Travis, I didn't know about this. I didn't know this was a thing.
It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
It was 2 years ago for Valentine's Day.
It was a bit of a risky train wreck because a couple of the calls.
All right, next caller. Next caller.
Goodbye.
Let's go. Bye, guys.
Yeah, it was. It definitely ended up being a riskier play than I initially expected it to be.
There were a couple that were like too real, you know. Like we were like going to be like, "Oh yeah, relationship advice," and then it was like, "I don't know what to do with my life," and we're like,
yeah, there was some stuff where like it was me, Mark, and Ovely, and there were definitely calls where the 3 of us were not qualified to be taking them. So,
Travis, bring it back.
Yeah,
I'm down to run it. It's been 3 years. We're more mature now.
It's been a year and a half.
It's been 5 years.
You keep adding time to this.
We've all grown now.
Before I did State of the League, I did a show called Hotline Love.
God, we should get Inero on. He's got the voice for it. He's got that like.
I'll do the radio call.
That late night, 2 a.m. You're driving on the highway.
Welcome to Hotline Love League.
Anyway,
it can't be Hotline Love League. That sounds cringe. Hotline Love. That sounds better.
Yes, that was the name of it. We called it Hotline Love.
All
right, whatever. Mark's grabbing the next caller. Jesus, this show. Okay.
Yeah.
Razor 28. Thank you for the Prime. Evermoroli, Fishstall, GG or G66 Stealthback, Cat 17, Mr. Brook Gaming. I am Nikleus, and Real Foxy 1, Kyle 0808, Remy Timmy 27. Thank you all for your support. Kyle 0808 with a tier 2 sub. Very generous of him. Warden is here. Warden, where are you calling from? Warden?
Warden. California.
Oh, you're very quiet. I'm going to turn you up.
Okay.
All right. Also, Inero, is it you with the squeaky chair?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes when there's silence, I just hear the squeaky chair, and it sounds like a horror film.
You should keep
I
doing
can move really slowly and like make it squeak longer if you'd like.
Yeah, so whenever I asked him that, and then I just heard your squeaky chair, I was like, oh god, what's coming
Sorry,
for
man.
me?
No, I need to get a new chair. My chair is scuffed.
WD-40. Anyway, Warden, sorry. Remind me again where you're calling from.
Downey, California.
Downey, California. You've been on the show before, right?
Yes.
What do you want to talk about on the show?
That I think that Jatt should win Coach of the Split.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I've heard he's just a coach for the cameras, but that's just me. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So 15-3 is the best record that TL's ever had in the LCS, and then in spring they were 9th and summer is 1st, and I think that's all you really need to say. Especially because Coach of the Split seems kind of like the most improved team award to me a lot of the time, or like the best coach and the best team. Or I mean the best, the coach and
It's
the
the
best
first
team.
place team award.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nick, you seem to be. So I interviewed Bjerg. Shout out to Bjerg. You can go watch the interview right now. But he was sort of like, he's very skeptical on the award. He feels like it doesn't really mean anything, and it's somewhat pointless because people don't really know. You seem to be. I'm picking up those vibes from you. That
you seem really salty that you
skeptical.
haven't won it. That's what you seem like.
If I won that award, I could care less, man. Like,
you mean you
can't
die
know.
happy?
Ah, that is your version
Yeah.
of the esports awards, a pointless award show. I got continue.
You can never know, man. Like, for all you know, I show up to work every day, do absolutely nothing. I just hang out. Golden Guardians is 5th place right now, and it's like, cool. Inero did that. I could have done nothing. You have no idea. You have no idea what I did. You can't see it.
I already assume you do nothing.
Yeah.
Conversely, Golden Guardians is 5th place right now, not 1st. So I can look
That's
at that
true.
and say, cool, Inero did that.
That's true. Inero did that. Yeah, I mean, it's like, obviously you can tell sometimes if like you can definitely pick up if like coaching's bad. Like if someone's having like consistently like poor results, it's like, oh, okay, like that guy's like probably an issue, But
So I often
always
look
hard to
at
know.
the way that the players describe their coach for hints on how good their coach is. And I got to say, looking at DeMonte's Twitter, for instance, does not instill in me. He's running essentially a campaign against you getting coach of the split.
Inero?
No, I should.
Someone has a gun to Closer's head right now saying Inero is so good, man, in Twitch chat. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's Inero on his account.
Yeah, it's me again. But I mean, I'm gonna vote Jatt, like, because I don't fucking know who else. Like, I think last split I voted Zix because I thought 100 Thieves was terrible, but they somehow got like pretty high in standings, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, you can give my vote, dude. You're probably doing something good over there because your team kind of blows.
Yeah.
That's all I can really look at.
No matter what, it's basically like a narrative award in a lot of ways. Like if a team was 8th and they still got 2nd this split, like let's say TL didn't get 2nd or didn't get 1st, but they got 2nd. I think he might still get it.
Well, so that's what I was gonna ask. If let's say TSM beat TL this past day, do you think that would put Parth in the running, or at least maybe in a better position than he is now?
Is Parth even the coach? Oh, sorry. Actually,
did you watch my Bjergsen interview?
No, I never watched.
I asked him this.
What did he say?
I said, Mark keeps spitting this yarn.
Wait, what the fuck?
No, I'm just kidding. No, but I said, hey, there's a lot of people who say that you and Peter are actually the coach, and like Parth is not there. And if he is, it's more just to facilitate discussion. So he said that they like Parth. Their decision to have Parth come in was more like, hey, we're going to commit to the old school way of doing things with the team. And he gives a much better description. I'm worried about paraphrasing, but he did say that he positioned Parth as their coach and not just for the cameras, and also specifically disputed the idea that him and Peter are the players. Now, obviously, maybe that's what most people would do in that situation if they were actually, but take that for what it's worth.
The other thing too is this split was, I think they've officially renamed it to like coaching staff of the split, so it's less like, because there's been a little bit of that I don't even think the head coach position technically exists on the Riot.
It's like strategic coach and
stage coach.
You put someone as like the head coach, which is just like they're going to be the one on stage.
Yeah,
like,
so it's like I think it's even called stage coach now or something, or strategic coach. But either way, like
you used to ride those puppies across the
what?
Stage coach?
Travis, shut up.
Shut
Keep
up.
going, Mark.
Anyways, they changed it to be coaching staff of the split, so it's more of a holistic team award. Anyways, so I definitely think it's basically a narrative award. I think if C9 was great all last split and were great this split, but TL went from 9th to second, he'd probably get it anyway.
Actually, that's the strat. Have like a really good team, but just fucking run it down in spring because it doesn't matter, and then just do really well in summer when you're Oregon award. Like it's so free. Just get the award and you're set. I think that's the move.
It's such a smart move as well because like it is true that. And I don't think anyone actually thought TL should be a 9th place team from like a talent, like the amount of good players on that team.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And they didn't even like their entire coaching staff is still there. They just like restructured and brought Jatt in, and they got rid of double lift and tacticals starting. You know, it's like
I like the Jatt thing. If I vote for him as first, I feel like it's gonna be. This is gonna sound like I don't like Jatt. I like Jatt, even if he didn't come on the show.
Once
it feels kind of bad voting for him because it's like it's his first split. He's got like a huge fandom. It's like It's like what are the chances?
He took over the previous back-to-back champions.
He's the first time he's ever been a coach. Like his first split ever. What are the chances that Jatt is like the best coach in the league within his first 9 weeks of coaching? And maybe to your point, maybe that is why it's important to think of it as like coaching staff of the split or whatever. But it's like, and it's I don't know. It feels really weird voting for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's why I've kind of disassociated my mind from this is actually who I think is the best coach of the split, and more about like a congratulations trophy. Because if I was gonna like say like who do you think's the best coach in the split, I'd probably say Reaper almost every single time. But like,
I'm fucked up when I'm right here, man. I'm literally like standing down and to the left of you, but it's cool.
He goes to Worlds. He's got us far in Worlds. He's the greatest man ever.
That's cool. It's cool, Mark.
I mean, to be fair to Inero, Hodser, Closer, and who was the other player that was in here? Golden Guardians player, just praising Inero's drafts earlier, saying he was the best drafter of all time. So,
hey, you guys want to play for Reaper?
Oh boy.
No, I just mean it's one of those things like the same way like I don't think of MVP necessarily as like most like who I think is the most skilled player in the league or that kind of stuff. Like I try and weight performance in there as well. So I'm not just saying like the same players are the MVP every split. Like I want to take their actual performances of what they did in the game into account. And same way with this, like I'm not saying who I think is the smartest coach or whatever the fuck. I'm saying like which org's coaching staff has this cool story basically behind it. Because to the caller's point, you don't really fucking know it. And to Inero's point, you don't know
who's got the best
doing.
Script.
Yeah, sell me on something sexy, and I'll vote for you.
You know what would be good? I think I remember I talked to Azale about this, and Azale came and like watched our scrims one time. Like I think the analysts and casters should like watch scrims. I think it'd be pretty good. Like you can get insight to what teams are doing. Like I feel like it just doesn't happen. I know like Azale told me like some teams kind of like block it or something because I guess like you guys might leak it. But if you guys leak it, you suck. Like,
yeah, I think like if we leak it, you should complain to Riot and like we'll get reprimanded. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it does color. I will not lie that like if I know like teams are playing this thing. Like it's like even if I'm not going to consciously say anything, it does like prime me differently. But
yeah,
like,
it becomes really weird to me whenever the people on the broadcast talking to the players have this secret information that they can't share with the audience. I'm sorry when I say talking to the players, I mean talking to the audience. Like it's weird.
I know what you mean, but I think like if it became more normalized, it would be less of like, oh, I know Golden Guardian's secrets, and it would be more like, oh, I know kind of what's more just generally going on behind the scenes. Like I wouldn't want to watch a full fucking day of Golden Guardian scrims. It'd be nice if I could hop from like 3 teams, you know, or something.
By the way, call back to earlier. Hanser just said, "Please get me Reapered." So
nice, thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate you, man. Real good reply.
Yeah, I mean, so regardless of if they're whatever you want to say about Inero, clearly does not have the respect of his players. That's the isn't that the most important thing that a coach should have?
Nah.
I don't know. Okay, well, back to the Jatt stuff. Warden, what makes you I assume it's sort of the obvious things like, oh yeah, TL went so far, did so well. this split. They went from 9th to 1st. That's why he should be coach.
I think that's like a big thing, but it's like the turnaround. Like everyone seemed kind of mental boomed and underperforming on TL, and they were kind of like they seemed like they weren't motivated anymore. It's like been there, done that in spring, and they were kind of just coasting. And I don't know how much that was like double lift mentality, and then like double lift versus dodo like seemed like they were clashing a lot last split, and then moving away from double lift to tactical rookie, who's probably not going to be as vocal. It seemed like after they got rid of double lift and Jatt came in, they were a lot more motivated, and especially now, everyone just like Cortry J is back to like his initial performance when he came to NA, where he's just like clearly the best support, probably best player in NA, individually carrying games, stuff that he just wasn't doing in spring. And especially now that Mark was just saying that it's the whole coaching staff, I think TL's coaching staff has done the most this split, because if you see C9's kind of stagnated, especially in the last couple weeks, and that kind of like, I don't know if that's a motivation thing or I know they're testing new picks, but they're not. I don't really think they're working out, and I don't think they have a great meta read. And I think TL has a much better meta read, and like the whole course of the split, they kind of like were practicing and tinkering more in the beginning of the split, and now they're just like focused and have a really good read on the meta, and they're just playing front to back team fighting really well. Just have all the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Do they win the split?
Yes, I think.
Pack it up, Inero.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah. So I think my main thing about TL is I just think they're the most consistent team in NA, and like every other team other than maybe FlyQuest. I mean, FlyQuest had their dip, but now I think they're going to be consistent. Is like all these other teams are all over the place, and I think especially in best of 5, like all the players other than tactical, and I guess Bruxa. I mean, Bruxa's been there in EU, but he hasn't really been there in NA yet. Have all this experience, and you've seen even in the rough games they had in the beginning of the split, they've been able to come back, make clutch
I do
plays.
think. I sorry to cut you off. I want to make sure we're staying on the coach stuff because I feel like right now we're just going into TL is awesome, but which I get, but I don't know. I think Jatt will win coach of the split, and I get that it makes a lot of sense. And I'm not even saying that I'm not going to vote for him, but it's kind of a weird set of circumstances, I think. And maybe TSM should get coach of the split because they seem to do the most improved TL in the split, in the break. Anyway.
From 5th to 4th.
No.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
TSM got TL to 1st from 9th by picking up their 80 carry. That apparently.
Oh. It was a joke. We missed it, Mark.
Yeah.
We're just dumb.
Travis,
you're actually too high level for us, Travis. That was high quality. We're just too dumb.
Warden, any shoutouts before we move on to the next caller? Just Alienware, the classic. Keep supporting you. And Brandon Sanderson's overrated. That's about it.
Jesus, get this guy out. I have never been more offended by something somebody said at the end. I usually move people out of the channel, but I'm thinking about just banning him from the Discord. He's gone.
Oh, Travis, you're crazy. Calm down.
I actually wasn't listening. What did he say?
Why are you echoing?
I don't know. I got unclicked on Skype, so I got real tangled up.
Yeah, the rage that I had in that moment. He said Brandon Sanderson is overrated. What was that face? Anyway, you should be as... I felt nauseous when I heard it. Anyway, do you want to grab our next caller?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's see. Looks like we got some more subs. Truck Riley, thank you. Raul Santos. Hein Valtz. I got banned, so new account. Benjean7 and Refa. Thank you for the prime. Oh boy. TomShoe is here. TomShoe, where are you calling from?
Oh man.
Oh boy, indeed. Calling from Alexandria, Virginia.
It's been a little bit since you've been on. What? So many Virginia
Literally,
people.
Virginia only calls tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Virginia
It's
edition.
almost like this is a great place to live, and that LCS should be here instead of the West Coast.
Okay.
Nah,
well, we got some hot
I can
takes
find a new
tonight.
job, I guess.
Anyway.
Come on, guys, don't hate.
Yeah, Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia.
want to be.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about, TomShoe?
Okay. For real though.
When was the last time you were on, by the way?
Damn, too long ago.
Okay.
Since I've been getting ignored.
Anyway, continue.
Whatever. No sour grapes here. But anyway, I want to talk about Immortals and how let's just do a little post-mortem on like how they're split. I mean, how their year has kind of gone, and like I really don't think, even though they didn't make playoffs, it's not really. We really shouldn't be all doom and gloom down on them, and that they've actually have a pretty good foundation to go into next year, right? So think about it like this. So they have Alarim, they've got Smithy, they've got Insanity, they've got Apollo Hakugo, and I mean they're all decent players, but I really think they've got a solid core of in their mid and jungle. Like specifically, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Insanity a little bit and how I think they could roll with him further if they wanted to.
Okay, go for it. We don't need the thesis statement. Just say your opinion.
Okay, yeah, sure, fine. I think Insanity, he's like this weird mix of like Niski and like Power of Evil. Because it's like, I believe that his laning isn't great, but I don't think that he actually plays to win lane. It's more so to actually try and go around and help his team, because I've been watching him in the academy for a long time. And while I don't think he was comfortable doing this in like the LCS, but he often had a lot of these like weird off meta champ picks and had like a really diverse champ pool that you didn't get to see when he was in LCS. Like he pulled out some crazy shit like Diana mid, Kled mid, Rumble mid, let's go Ziggs mid, because why not? And like he still was like doing pretty crap in like as far as like CSD per minute, but still had a pretty crazy kill participation, and I thought that was impressive. And they also have Xmithy, who is, well, I know he didn't exactly have the best year, but it's kind of like Wiggly in that, like, what are you supposed to do if all your lanes just lose and are just straight griefing you? Like, honestly, I'd just straight run it down if I had Snixie and Smoothie as my bot lane too. But like pretty much every single laner in Immortals was like honestly bottom tier. It's like, and I understand, because you know Alarim is not a carry player. Insanity can be a carry player, but it kind of depends on what they want to do with him. They can, if they want to, they can try and shift in towards that Power of Evil style if they want to, because I don't know if you saw those Corki or those Cogwell games, because those are pretty disgusting. Yeah.
I'm trying to move you along.
Yeah, and bot lane is, I don't know what happened, because Apollo and Hako were kind of crushing Academy, but then they went to LCS and kind of got crushed instead, because I think their CSD was the worst in the league. Mark, can you look that up for me? I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, it is true. So really what you need is someone, either you can turn and make Insanity do it, or you need.
Okay, so you think the foundation is mid and jungle because those players are good.
Well, yes, something to build off of, right? So now you need
core.
Almost. Well, yeah, it's the foundation, but you need the actual house to build on it. The actual house now, because you have the foundation, now you need the actual house. So now we get an actual, like, you need a carry player either in top, or you need just like a superstar bot lane to play around, because I think Insanity does not have the experience yet to become a true carry player. Xmithy is not that kind of guy. Alam's not that kind of guy.
Okay, so you need
Apollo
a carry.
Hako definitely aren't that guy. Yeah, you need a carry.
Okay.
Someone. Yeah, go ahead.
So the take is that you think
your...
Immortals has a good foundation for next year,
and they just need a carry.
Exactly. They get a carry. I think they're a top 6 playoff team, no problem.
Mark, I forgot to turn off the sounds of when somebody messages me on Skype. So I'll do it again. Okay.
Go ahead, Inero. You sound like you got a hot follow-up.
Okay, hang on. Let me ask really quickly. Tom, what about like coaching or a GM, or like what do you think of their support staff?
Yeah, the other parts of the foundation.
And I'm just kind of curious if you can give me a short version of your take on those.
I mean, didn't they fire like Zabutin and B-Sin?
Right. But I'm just saying, like,
whatever you're getting paid for, like drafting fucking Ica, get me out of here.
Sure,
I got more to say about that, but we'll save that for the end of the call. But anyway, yeah.
So
no, we're doing it.
I think I think what's tough for me is you're saying they have a great foundation, but it seems like they don't have anything besides the jungle and the mid lane, in your opinion. They're missing like support staff that you would want, and they're missing 3 players. That's a lot to be missing.
Okay, so I believe they have like go-to one in Malaclips, and
they do have analysts and coaches, yes, but
yeah, I mean, they still did a pretty okay job. I mean, it's definitely like an easier rebuild than like CLG, where you kind of have to start from literally the ground up. So like there is some talent there, and I have to admit, and some of their drafts were okay. Like they had some pretty clear win conditions, and I'm like, maybe one that was really questionable was like, I think the last game of the season, where it's like, bro, how do you you're picking Nidalee, giving Smithy Nidalee, what? But I mean, they're kind of decent. It's like, it's not like it's actually unplayable.
Okay. Inero.
We can fix this team. We can fix this team without blowing it up, right?
You can fix
Tom,
any
please.
team without blowing it up. Like you can, like
no,
every
you,
team.
No,
like
you can't fix.
Right, what team? What team can you not fix without blowing it up? Because I've specifically like made my career off of going to teams that have like fucking shit teams and then making them good ones. So what team?
CLG.
How can you not make CLG like a good team? Like you think that Six Day Smoothie are the worst bot lane in the league?
Yes.
Like that's just not true. I'm not gonna fucking flame like other team bot lane, but it's just not fucking true. They had like a bad time this year, but it's just not fucking true. Like Pobelter's also not the worst mid. They have a team you can actually build around 100%.
Well, either way, we're getting off topic.
So. Yeah, but I'm saying like, if you're talking about like this team has a good foundation, they can build it. Like, yeah, no shit. Like you can do that with literally every single team.
Yeah,
like literally every single team, you can just go in and like change everything. Like regardless of how much money you have, there's good enough players in academy, and you can rebuild that up. It's not like that fucking hard. You just have to have the balls to do it. And it's like. Our Immortal's going to have the balls to do it because they stuck with the same coaching staff that had the same thing happening for fucking ever and the same management for fucking ever. Like they finally changed it, but like,
hey guys, let's surround 6A and Smoothie with Hooney, with freaking Smeb and Faker. No, that'll totally make them a great team. All right.
He's saying you can pick them up with academy players too.
Yeah, you can fill academy players in there and still like do okay. Like, trust me, you can build teams in academy that are better than LCS teams. Everyone fucking knows that. Like, it's
absolutely.
very free. It's just like, will a team have the balls to do it? So when you say like a team has a good foundation, like it's really easy to have like a decent foundation. It's just like, will the org have the balls to do it? And it's like, I don't really know what to say about the take because it's just like, yeah, they have a good foundation of Insanity and Xmithy, which is just like, yeah, obviously Xmithy's like a fucking good player. Everyone knows that. Like he won for like the past 2 years. And Insanity's a new like academy player. Like, yeah, cool. Like you should start with the young guy and like build people around that. Like, cool, they have it. Will they use it? Like, I don't know, man. Probably. Like I know Malaclips is like on their staff, and I know that's what he wants to do. So like, if they keep like pushing with him and like give him like more power in the team, like probably they'll probably build around that. Might do pretty well, but like, fuck, dude, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
To Inero's point too, like if you think that Immortals has a good foundation, then basically every team has a good foundation on some level. I know you're going to harp on CLG, but okay, even if you say CLG doesn't have a good foundation, 100 Thieves has a good foundation, Dignitas has a good foundation. You know, EG has a good, like everyone has a good foundation then, because it's not like Immortals has so much more than these other teams to quantify them as a good foundation, respective to the other 10 teams in the league. So when you say something's good, you're saying it. You're not saying it. You're saying it relativistically to the rest of the orgs.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm scaling them based on like how hard is this rebuild going to be? Like what assets do you already have, and like how easy is it for you to get new assets?
Well, yeah. Well, one thing you got to take into account too is that they've never had a fucking budget. I mean, they pretty much have always had one of the lowest budgets in the league. So, like, yeah, rebuilding for them is actually way harder. How's that for a foundation? Money.
Well, they don't have the lowest this year.
Yeah,
really?
They're always close to the lowest. Correct, Travis?
And
I mean, they've not ever had it.
Travis?
What's that?
Who was the lowest this year? Just pop that in the chat for me.
In the chat?
Yeah, if you could just pop that like verbally in the chat.
That we're
having together.
Written, yeah. There you go.
You typed it in Skype, Travis. You can just go ahead and say it.
I typed it in Skype.
Put the words out there. It's fine. Okay, go ahead.
It's
probably my favorite team, but
it's Golden Guardians.
Oh, no big deal.
Look at that. Look at those fucking money ballers over there in Arrow.
I'm jealous.
Sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to distract.
No. It's just that, you know, like the constraints that people have goes beyond talent. And to Travis' point, like their
Closer says looks like they are smurfing. Okay, sorry. Continue. Mark. That was just too good of a response.
You know.
Demonte says I literally don't have enough money to buy dinner. Maybe. Remember, Inero, you pushed this out in front of you. Made me say this on stream.
It's just funny to me. Like
Dated is dated right now, very unhappy. Anyway, sorry. Closer is adding him right now. Imagine if we have more money at Dated. We got a live player revolt in the chat right now.
All those contracts, cans of cat food to eat. You know.
Send this man some ramen.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Mark, you were gonna say sorry.
No, I basically said it. It doesn't need to be said again. It's past 10 o'clock. I'm going to the last caller.
Yeah.
Okay. So well, let's try to give this a decent answer. So, is Immortals in a better position to rebuild than CLG? Let's put it as that as a simple thing. Like Inero, you're a coach. Would you rather have CLG or Immortals as the framework for you to start a new team?
I would probably want to have CLG personally. Yeah.
I would too.
No, I just think if they really want to, they could choose to like keep their bottom like 3, like mid bot lane, and import like better in top and jungle if they really want to improve their team. Like CLG. Immortals is all right, but
I at least also feel like based off some of Tafo's tweets, like I have upper management that cares about me a little bit. Even at least it seemed like I'd want to hear in the interview how it goes. The higher budget as well, probably equal amounts of control over both rosters, like in a larger fan base as well. Why would I not take CLG?
Yep.
So I think you should blow it up. We can agree to disagree.
Tom, I know things sometimes get heated when you call in, but I will say I enjoy your call more than some who have, you know. I'm glad you didn't call in with the 5th Golden Guardians is going to Worlds take. I appreciate that.
Should have done that. That would have been great.
Is that I defend my take. Well,
it's yes. Either way,
yep.
Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you again in the future. I'm sure.
Shout out.
Okay, go for it.
Can I take a minute to? Can I just take a
30
minute
seconds.
to shout out myself? Because way back in Hotline League 101, I had this same rant about how like Devontae was not in the league versus Ika and Realm on these mids, and guess what? Now he's 5th, and Ika's out of the league, and Realma's 7th, and now my take is looking better and better every day. Like, I don't know how it's possible to be this smart, but it's just actually ridiculous.
That's pretty poggers, dude.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe you copy and pasted that Reddit comment into your brain. And then
I made that Reddit comment. That's just how big brain I am. Like, actually 400 head. It's not even funny.
Thanks, TomShoe. Have a good one.
Just take a...
Okay. To the last
Did you
caller.
kick him out?
I told him I'd give him 30 seconds and he took 45, so it was
very true. You did give him the strict framework, Travis. Understood.
Yes.
You gotta stick to the rules.
Yes, exactly. I treat my callers like you treat your players. I give them rules, and if they go outside those rules, then I kick them. Zeenithu is here. Zeenithu, where are you calling from?
Calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Oh, hell yeah, we got a deep voice.
Wisconsin.
Let's go.
Yo, 2 deep voices. What do you?
I love Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
For some reason, Mark doing the deep voice meme and then an arrow coming in with the actual deep voice laugh was great. Zeenithu, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I was going to talk about how 100 Thieves is going to run through the lower bracket, get the 3rd seed for Worlds, and kind of begin a C9-esque dynasty based off the NA talent that they're cultivating in their next program.
This is a new trend on the show. I think that started last week, is people predict a team going to Worlds and then predict a
Into
dynasty
2021.
forming. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's take it one step at a time.
I didn't know.
And because we're limited, it's 10:07. Let's just focus on why you think they're going to make Worlds.
And
Let's
by the
assume
way,
you're right about everything else.
Papa, really great voice changer. Continue.
Yeah, so basically why I think they're going to make Worlds is that I think they have a pretty good bracket run. So, I mean, realistically, they're probably going to face EG in their first round, which, especially during the last game, you kind of saw that they matched up really well. And with EG kind of not having Jizuke, they don't have the macro confusion anymore. So as far as that goes, I think they win that matchup.
I would agree. I think they'd beat EG. I think 100 Thieves could easily beat EG. But
agree.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
They
But that
beat
doesn't
EG.
get them into Worlds.
Yeah.
I think the next one, sorry, Inero, but I think TSM would probably beat Golden Guardians. So then they go up against TSM next, probably. And I think they can match up pretty well into TSM too. I think the hardest part about the TSM matchup is playing into Broken Blade. But overall, I think they just have to figure out a way for Ryoma to not basically get destroyed by Bjergsen, which means a better champion pool than just really the Galio that they have now.
This is where I think it's going to be tougher for you to get support.
Yeah, I think I would say 100 Thieves would lose to TSM. Pretty hard. I think, I think just kind of everywhere but jungle and top, they're going to kind of get beat.
It was
I think Bjergsen will win pretty easily, pretty handily on things. But
I was gonna say it was a pretty close series in spring when they played, and I think TSM has gotten a lot better since then. And I don't think 100 Thieves is playing better since their spring form, when they were doing okay actually. So I don't see where they get their advantages. I mean, Poom is probably the weakest support left in playoffs. I love that it's like a new up and coming player, and I'm really excited to see his career. But he makes a lot of mistakes, and I think in a best of 5 series, when you have a player that's going to be a bit of a liability, it's can get picked on, which has happened a number of times.
I mean, at least in their game, it's like Poom versus Treats. I don't think it's like as big of a like outweigh one way or the other as it would be versus other supports. Like,
true.
But, I mean, I'm not like super high on Treats support compared to I know like.
Damn, you're in the minority there.
Yeah, people just hype up.
Inero firing shots.
I like Treats the person, but I don't think he's like a superstar.
But I think he's dog shit.
I don't think he's a superstar or anything, man. But
So, Danon says they faced loser of Flive and EG.
yeah, which he was saying would be EG, and I said they beat EG. So they beat EG, like, cool. And they play the next one. If that's TSM, then.
Yeah, I'm just confused because Danon was saying we were doing the bracket side wrong. But
I think he might have missed when we all just
kind
kind of hand waved EG.
Okay. Danon always here to talk about how the bracket works. And then the one time he
loves
fails
to
it.
talk about the bracket. Can
yeah,
we
he
please
last
talk
week
more
last
about
week
the
he
bracket?
said, "I'm just here to talk about the bracket in Twitch chat." He finally got his chance after 2 episodes, and then flubs the. Anyway, sorry.
Either way, though, I would say TSM has advantage in bot lane. Even though I don't think it's like too one-sided like support, I do think that the bot lane is better. Mid lane, like 100% is better. Bjergsen, like maybe jungle top, like contest there someday, and contracts versus Spica and Broken Blade. But I think they would lose there. But okay, if they win that, do they go to Worlds? They don't, right? They still have to play another game. They'd have to win the like 3rd place match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd probably have to go against Golden Guardians or FlyQuest.
Nah, dude, we're in the finals. Like, don't even bring us up. Like, it's fine. Like, we already won and we went through. If they played us, like, it's a fucking wrap. Like, it's done. Like, we went hard, super easy.
I do think Golden Guardians is the biggest counter to 100 Thieves as a style.
I like that. I like that. I agree. We're the biggest counter
in the
to
whole
everyone.
thing. Do you think that they'd have the hardest time with Golden Guardians?
Stylistically, I think it's the hardest team.
What can I say? We're just at the end of the day, Travis. We're just the better team in this regard. You know, like we got them. We got them beat match to match. We're ready. So
I need to go pee, so maybe we should just wrap this up. Okay. So
your other part of the take though was like the academy stuff, right? Like next.
Yeah,
Kelsey,
the amateur
Kelsey
stuff.
Moser height.
Yeah. Kelsey
So-
Moser
like
is
that.
the best coach in the academy, by the way.
So you're saying,
Do you
sorry.
agree,
So you're saying
or-
they're going to establish a dynasty after they go to Worlds this year, and in part because of the next stuff. You just think that they're going to have this strong pipeline of players to to replace? Because it sounds weird that you're confident enough in this roster that this roster will make it to Worlds, but then you feel like they're going to need additional players next year.
They're going to yeet all of them out. They're done.
Well, I mean, realistically, we're probably going to see someday going out to do his military service sometime within the next couple years, probably. So we already have like Fake God. He's probably going to end up being sold to a different team, but Tenacity looks really strong in the amateur scene, and I think he'll end up doing really well in the academy scene as well.
Yep. I think Tenacity and Kenvy will do well in time. I think those were good like pickups by them. I think anything like those like next programs and stuff, like anything going more into like amateur and like that side of things is really good, just to have like some sort of, because like we don't have like regional leagues and shit like Europe has, so like we kind of got to just make do with our own like rigged up system of just having this next team playing like the random amateur tournaments.
So you admit the system is rigged?
No, what? That's not. It's just a rigged up system. Like it's kind of, it's like shitty. It's like I just taped it there. I taped some amateur
rigged
tournaments
systems
up.
are shitty in Inero, I agree. Anyway, sorry, continue.
And like having any sort of team like that, pretty good. Like you can have like a connection with those players already, know what their personality's like. You don't have to like ask or try to figure out from their friends like, yo, is this guy like normal? Is he crazy? Like, can he be a human being? Like you get to like already know that. That definitely helps with things. Like teams having that's pretty important. It's definitely a good step. I don't know. It's not gonna like turn them into a dynasty just by having that, but it's like a good step. Like having those types of teams set up, like more than academy, and like having something to reach into is pretty good. So I think it's a good thing that they set up and did. I know like when I was on Equifox and stuff, we did like a little boot camp to bring like brought like 20 players in to just like see what they're like in person. And you learn a lot about people really fast. I know TSM did a similar thing. That's where they like picked up treats from too. Things like that are good. And 100 Thieves is approaching in a different way of just like having an actual like amateur team, kind of like I guess the TSM junior thing. It's good. It's already pretty good.
All right, Zeenithu, I don't think that we're confident that 100T is going to Worlds, or at least they have a much harder path than perhaps you think. But it does sound as though we're pretty excited about next, which I think I'm unsurprised that 3 people who care about the future of this league are excited about that. But I props to 100T for saying that. Or for doing that. Any shout outs you want to say before we close out the show?
Yeah, shout out to Alienware. I'm getting a nice laptop from them later this week.
With
and then
Travis 10 off Q3?
It might have been. I don't remember.
Okay.
Let's just say it was for the show. And then shout out to 100 Talk Podcast, best 100 Thieves podcast in the world. Also the only one.
Is that your podcast?
No.
Okay. Because people tend to.
You should be on there. You got a great voice.
Yes, exactly. Either way,
Agreed.
thank you, Zeenithu, for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Later, man.
All right.
All right, great show, guys. See you later.
Inero, what do you want to plug? Shout out. What's going on with you?
Shout out to Golden Guardians and the new docu-series they just released. Not just released. They will release in 2 days, I think. Hold up. I got a little message thing that tells me when it comes out.
Oh, you got talking points.
It comes out August 12th, 2020. Release day Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You'll find it at youtube.com/Golden Guardians. It's a 3-part docu-series about our LCS team's summer split, as well as some background on our org and our side of the Warriors. So, yeah, just go to that.
I love that
August
earlier in the
12th.
show, I was like, what are the talking points? You're like, I don't know,
Man, this isn't a
They
talking
don't give
point.
me talking points. I
There's
just
a
get to say what I
docu-series,
want.
Travis.
And now,
docu-series is out.
Clearly,
The-
someone realized the mistake in sending you on here without
No, they
bullet
sent
points.
me this. They sent me this. It's just like you
When
wanted
did
me
they send it to you?
like yesterday. But like my talking point. What am I talking point about? There's a docu-series, Travis. They
I think
wanted
you
wait
just said
to
the
end,
talking points.
show us this stuff, and it's cool. It's not a talking point. I just described there's a doc. Okay, Travis,
Inero.
talking point. We're releasing a video. You already said that one. You want me to repeat it, Travis?
Mark?
Ties to the Warriors, all that stuff. Talking points.
Mark?
All right, whatever. It came through eventually. Okay, my bad, guys. I'm not a professional marketer. You just brought me in.
Yes, to market. Anyway, Mark, what do you want to? What do you got going on? What do you want to plug?
I want to shout out Travis Gafford's book YouTube channel. I think it's coming out this week, right?
Well, the first video's up on the channel, but if you're referencing your and my thing, it'll come out this
that
week.
one I care about because I'm in it.
Yeah. Do you want it? You're just gonna say I think it's coming out and that's it, or you're not gonna?
I was waiting for you to confirm that it's coming out. We recorded
Yes.
like a 45-minute review of the Way of Kings. We'll be doing the whole Storm
recap and review.
We'll be doing the whole Stormlight archive leading up to the Rhythm of War release. I haven't read the novellas, but I would read Dawnshard if we want to do because that sounds like lore hype as fuck.
Yeah, you should read Edge Dancer. You goddamn.
I don't care. It's Lift being a fucking dummy.
There's actual good lore and background in that.
Oh
too.
my god, Nail. Oh my
stop.
god.
No spoilers.
I didn't say anything.
You said at least one thing. Please go check out Travis Gafford Books on the YouTube channel. It's linked from my channel if you want to go find a link, but you can also just YouTube Google Travis Gafford Books. You'll find it. We have almost 1,000 subscribers there, and I gotta say it's been really fun to build up a new channel. I haven't done that in 9 years, and so doing that has been kind of fun to just scrap it out again and see what I can do. And we already got 2,500 views on the first video, which for a channel that had nothing before, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously I'm benefiting from other stuff, but thank you to everybody who's checked it out. If you haven't yet, please go do that. And I'm already planning on doing some videos with Shocks and Licorice and a bunch of other folks who read fantasy in the esports scene. So it should be a pretty fun diversion. And then what? You read fantasy?
No, he's saying.
I mean, I could read it.
Did you watch my video yet on what fantasy books
Are you
should
literate
start with?
enough to read it? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not literate. I'm from North Carolina. I'm stupid, Travis.
Okay.
But I could learn to read. I'd do it, but it's fine. No invite for me again.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for derailing the hype. So yeah, Travis Gafford Books, go check it out. We are at 984 subs. I'm trying to break 1,000. So, 988. Either way, thanks to Inero for coming on and for his amazing talking points. Thanks to all our callers. Thanks to Mark, of course. Oh, and I also got a interview hitting with Steve tomorrow that's under embargo about a secret thing. Not that crazy, but it's pretty crazy. It's cool. So check that out. And big week for the channel this week with Bjergsen and Sneaky interviews dropping and Jensen interviews some more. So either way, thanks everyone for watching. This has been Hotline League episode 135, I think.